All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's Thursday night, 8 o'clock Central Time. This is People in the Boxes. Every Thursday night, we get together. Tonight is the 17th, July 17th, 2025. Let's go. We're going to play this little intro. You might be catching this on the replay. If you do, let us know what you think. Check out the show, comment, and we'll get back to you. If we could, hit that like button and share it out. We'll be right back in about 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Let's talk about it.
Voices echo through the walls so thin, trapped in squares where the stories begin. Whispers rise from the shadows deep, secrets these boxes swear to keep. People in the boxes, souls on display, talking through the silence, night into day. Bound by lines, yet the truth breaks free. People in the boxes calling to me. Cube holds a tale untold, hearts of fire, dreams so bold. Walls can't hold what the spirit sings, laughter and tears on fragile wings. People in the boxes, souls on display, talking through the silence, night into day. Bound by lines, like the truth breaks free. People in the boxes calling to me. Cages or a stage to stand, a prison built by a human hand. Voices clash, then they blend as one. In the boxes, the journey's begun. People in the boxes, souls on display, talking through the silence, night into day. Bound by lines, yet the truth breaks free. People in the boxes calling to me. I hear their sound, lost in seeking yet profound. People in the boxes near and far, shining out like a guiding star. Voices echo through the walls so thin, trapped in squares where the stories begin. Whispers rise from the shadows deep, secrets these boxes swear to keep. People in the boxes, souls on display, talking through the silence, night into day. Bound by lines, yet the truth breaks free. People in the boxes calling to me. Every cube holds a tale untold, hearts of fire, dreams so bold. Walls can't hold what the spirit sings, laughter and tears on fragile wings. People in the boxes, souls on display, talking through the silence, night into day. Bound by lines, yet the truth breaks free. People in the boxes calling to me. Or a stage to stand, a prison built by a human hand. Voices clash, then they blend as one. In the boxes, the journey's begun. People in the boxes, souls on display, talking through the silence, night into day. Bound by lines, yet the truth breaks free. People in the boxes calling to me. Holds a tale untold, hearts of fire, dreams so bold. Walls can't hold what the spirit sings, laughter and tears on fragile wings. Every cage is or a stage to stand, a prison built by a human hand.
All right, we're back. All right, Sprout, calm yourself, my guy. We got Johnny with us in the house. Johnny Paradise, Plant Paradise, over on X. Guys, it's People in the Boxes episode 153. 153 times where we've gotten together to try to, share our experiences. Oh, let me. I had to mute you. There was some kind of back feed. Um, okay, now you have to unmute yourself on your end, and then you should be good.
Oh man, Johnny's
All
off
right,
the
there we
lead.
go.
Shout out everybody.
It's okay. I turned you down a little bit. It was starting to or it was feeding back into it. It's all good. Anyway, episode 153, People in the Boxes. It's kind of a topic driven show, but the topics for me always have to be something that has a very common connection to as many people as possible. I can't say everybody because not every, you just can't do that. But very, very, very common as much as possible. And we try to come up with topics that as many people can have some sort of an experience on the topic, whether that is they never experienced the topic. That's even a position to have or a perspective to have. So today's topic is going to be, it was actually suggested by Kim. I haven't heard from Kim. I hope she's okay. But Kim thought cloud seeding would be a good topic, and I thought that's a good idea because there are things in the news, and we're going to probably try to watch one of those videos at least, or at least look up some information on it. There's things in the news that I guess there is confirmation of use of cloud seeding recently in these areas where there's big floods. So I don't know, Johnny. Have you heard about this? You probably heard a little bit about it, haven't you? I just saw a video. I didn't listen to it yet.
Yeah, well, so this guy, he was on the Sean Ryan show, and I guess he, is this is something that's going on. They're dropping rain for like ski resorts who want
Mm.
snow, and you know, I guess I've read they say the temperatures aren't right or the conditions aren't right to use it for some of the fires we see. But he was talking about it on Sean Ryan, and of course gets people upset. They're doing this with aluminum and barium and strontium, really powerful neurotoxins. This stuff kind of comes down in the rain, and yeah, so I guess he had some contracts to do this in Texas. Yeah, just days before all the flooding. So seems pretty clear. This is a man-made flood that took some lives. So I think we should quit playing with the weather. I think that government gets corrupted. I think corporations, they put profits over risk to our health and freedoms. So I think we should be cautious.
Or they're like, well, we got to try this to see what happens. Like they're more interested to get the data from it, not instead of seeing the fallout. Speaking of which, I just did a really quick like cursory search on cloud seeding, and I didn't even know about this. But 3 hours ago, this is from Russell Brand. There's some other sources here, but they all kind of say the same thing. After the catastrophic flooding in Texas, it has been confirmed that cloud seeding was in use. Now, I didn't say this yet. I got to remind you guys, People in the Box is about bringing as many people up as possible to share what you've experienced on this because I think all of us have had this question about these, streaky clouds, these what we see as like streaks in the sky for the longest time. So I think this is kind of something, and it obviously affects all of us for sure. Anyway, Russell Brand says first they denied weather control existed, but now they're admitting it, all while claiming it's harmless. Geoengineering is a real risk. So I guess this guy was on Fox. I don't know if I want to play this video or not. We'll probably get booted from Facebook if we do. But I guess this guy is some sort of religious leader within this place, Rainmaker. Rainmaker CEO admits it. They're playing God, and they think it's their duty. They think it's a religious bend to this. There's not just seeding clouds. They're using religion to justify controlling the weather. That sounds pretty hyperbolic, but everybody brings up what is it, harp or I might be saying it wrong, but that project HAARP or something like that. I don't know. how to spell it. We'll have to look it up. Everyone brings that up, but I've never heard this company's Rainmaker. Um, and here's one from a year ago, which actually has some good pictures. This is what people have seen. I think a lot of people have seen this picture with the planes and all of these. Now, there's usually some kind of an explanation about it. Like you told me the other day, Johnny, this the exhaust will make, the humidity from the exhaust getting burned up as it comes out. It will make clouds of smoke. But this is a whole nother thing, right? what do you? This is like.
Yeah, yeah. This looks like this is something else, right? I was talking about how some people think if you look at Jim Lee. Now Jim Lee, he's a
Mhm,
real loud voice on geoengineering, and he'll be one of the first to say, hey,
Jim
we gotta
Lee.
cut out this nonsense when it comes to like what they're proposing doing in the UK. Putting these neurotoxins way up in the sky to reflect the sun for climate change or whatever.
Might be
But
saying
what Jim Lee says about what a lot of us would say are chemtrails
Am I
is that
typing his name wrong?
sorry, Jim Lee. No, that should be him. Yeah, that second one right there. Follow back. He
Okay.
follows you.
Oh,
Yeah, he
cool.
follows you already. There you go. Yeah, climate viewer. This is the guy. So now this guy, he says is like, look, I predict chemtrails because it comes down to the conditions of the weather. Whether so if the humidity's right, the temperature's right, and you put little particles in the air, it's going to accrue moisture. You're going to see a cloud effect, and so that's his point about what we're seeing, and a lot of people are calling chemtrails is just kind of maybe natural. Now the pushback there could be, hey, well, are there additives to the fuel? This is something that a lot of
Hmm.
people are saying, because we are measuring way more aluminum in our rain than we should be. So
Interesting. I'd like to see some of that because I think the conspiracy theory is different than the actual conspiracy because we know that they do experiment with putting things in the air, but they say it's for good reasons. But the conspiracy theory side of things is that there is some sort of nefarious chemical they're putting into the fuel, like you said. The pilots don't know about because that's the thing is the pilots will speak up and say, "Look, I'm not." They'll say exactly what you said, and it's true. Like their exhaust or their trail can leave like this cloud there, and that's just science. But then they're trying to say the thought or the theory is like they're putting something in the fuel because then the pilots wouldn't know about it. Anyway, what does he say here? This is from last year too, so he's got it pinned. Weather modification history. So there's a whole website, weathermodificationhistory.com, the world's most comprehensive weather control archive with hundreds of verified historic facts, images, and videos. WMH's compelling evidence is easy to browse, exceedingly accurate, and encyclopedic in scope. Wow, interesting. He was on the High Wire at 11. Interesting.
yeah, Jim Lee, we had him on the Club Maha podcast there. He was a good guest. Man, that guy could go on and on and on about it. And what could I say about him? He's like real contrary to Dane Wigington, who is like maybe the biggest name in kind of as a geoengineering activist talking about the chemtrails. The documentary The Dimming is on YouTube. It's a great one to watch. Really going into a lot of the historical kind of we've had like world leaders, everybody from JFK to Lyndon B. Johnson, going back further. We got people, head of the deep state CIA. We've got patents. We've got, stuff from back in the Vietnam War where they were making a monsoon go, 40 years ago when they were
Right,
steering,
I heard about
steering
that.
hurricanes. So,
Steering hurricanes. Yep, that's another one.
Dane Wigington's The Dimming is a real good one watch on YouTube. It's got like something like 25 million views already, and yeah. But he's kind of like Jim Lee kind of calls him out for being maybe a little too conspiratorial, saying that look, there's not this massive conspiracy of all these planes that people think have chemtrails having nozzles and having like all of these funky
Mhm.
things like you showed that picture of
Right.
spraying everywhere. So
like, so we know there's some of it out there, and because some planes have this apparatus on it, that's enough to like feed the, the worry and the conspiracy theory part of things. I don't know. I wonder, like, if they have planes like this, why would they be hiding it in the fuel? Like they would just do it. So I don't know. It's kind of it's one of those things. I think it's very easy to see us uh, doing something we think is going to help the atmosphere. Like, I know it's a movie, but there's a movie that I always think about when it comes to this, which was a Highlander movie. Highlander, the there can be only one. These immortals. Anyway, it was a series of movies, and at one point they had it was in the 80s, and so they were trying to solve global warming in this movie. And what they did was they put up this like artificial like ozone layer that blocked out the sun basically, and it was this whole thing. But eventually later on they shut it down like years later, but because they found out that it healed itself, the earth healed itself. But it was just one example of what humans could think about trying to do in order to artificially fix our atmosphere, because we do that with everything else. We want to make GMO this and GMO that. We want to make synthetic hormones, synthetic this. So why wouldn't we at some point with our hubris be like, well, we can just synthetically fix the atmosphere by spraying, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't sound like a evil thing. It just sounds like a hubris of humans.
Well, when you think about just how powerful these neurotoxins are, I mean, aluminum, barium, and strontium. These are the big three. These are just no good for us. I mean, this stuff gets everywhere, right? Coming down in the rain. Rain is like something that's magical and medicinal about natural rain, and we're trading that for like this toxic rain that's no good for us. Coming down, getting in our food, getting in our water. Um, you know, more and more, it's like people seem a little off, don't they? So
Yeah,
this
something
is,
going on.
yeah, we got Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, all like exploding, and yeah, I think that this sort of aluminum coming down everywhere could be playing a part in that.
I read something yesterday. I don't know if it was while you were still on. That it was a little video that I saw from Dr. Sean Baker, they did a test on mice with sugar, and they found out that mice that were exposed to enough sugar ended up having Alzheimer's uh, symptoms. I don't know if they could directly say it was Alzheimer's, but basically they're thinking that Alzheimer's is actually linked to like diabetes and insulin production in the brain.
That's
Which
right. Yeah, they're calling it like diabetes, like stage 3. Yeah.
hmm I haven't heard, yeah, brain or of the brain or whatever. So that's a different story altogether, I guess. But hey guys, I put the link out there on Rumble and Facebook. If anybody wants to come up and hang out with me, Johnny won't be staying forever, and we wanna hear from you guys. The whole show is supposed to be about hearing from everyone but me. I talked 4 times. I had 4 other shows this week. I want to hear what you guys think. I'm gonna see if I can hit the chat and see if any other people on the box chat members want to come up.
Yeah, it's crazy this stuff though, it's just man, Bill Gates, he talks about population control. He talks about how, we need less people. He says if we do a really good job with vaccines, we can keep us down to 9 billion people. He's huge on this cloud seeding stuff. This guy's all about GMOs, all about Monsanto's pesticides, glyphosate, all about this so-called what do they call it, the green revolution. This is stuff is
I
killing
haven't heard
us.
about that.
And yeah, anything he's about, what, synthetic meat, cancer meat. You know how they grow that meat? They grow it with
In
cancer cells.
labs. Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, it's
I don't want the meat. I don't want impossible burgers. I don't want impossible like fake meat. I don't want any of that. There's ways to do things that we're just not doing. and seeding the clouds is not going to do it. Now, there are arguments to be made that eventually there will be technology that allows us to control the entire planet. You know what I mean? Like in an accurate way. But I don't know how like who would control that and not fuck it up. You know what I mean? Like who would be able to do that? You know, even if we had a one world, like I'm talking like 100,000 years from now, we got a one world government and there's a whatever you imagine, however you want to imagine. I just don't imagine it working out to where we don't fuck it up somehow.
Right.
Most science fiction, sort of states that that's sort of an inevitability. If you're able to continue without having a near extinction event where we get sort of reset, then it's inevitable that we get to that sort of level of technology. But I just don't see it being good right off the bat. Anyway, let's control the clouds. Well, I think people are doing it now, which we already talked about. And it's like the funny thing is, you have a bunch of different um, opposing interests that are going to be doing this, and what's going to happen when you end up with, and then you have and you throw AI into this, where maybe they make it even like it becomes that pretty accurate, where they can actually, like you said, steer a hurricane. Like I can see,
Hmm.
I can see how you can do that by with lasers, and you can actually heat up the atmosphere in certain areas, and that will cause different pressure changes. I'm not a meteorologist, but I could see it happening. But you throw in AI to make it accurate, and then boom, you're just lobbing hurricanes at each other, like countries just lobbing hurricanes at each other. Just it's that's going to be the next major weapon. I don't know. I think nukes and chemical and biological are just too messy, and most countries would assume it would come back on them at some point, or at least have that worry. So I feel like cloud seeding and the controlling of the weather is like the next best thing. You know, the only other thing I could think of is the what do they call the rods of God or something, where they take these tungsten steel rods up into the atmosphere and just drop them, and like strategically drop them. That's another like sort of weapon that wouldn't fall back, at least as far as the. Oh no, maybe it would, because think about what our atmosphere and how we have had like uh, volcanoes cause such a catastrophic change to where we could even be plunged into ice ages just from a super volcano erupting. So we could easily cause. I don't know if we could cause an ice age from manipulating our weather, but we can keep causing these floods. People think, they're assuming these floods are caused by us messing with stuff. What about there's multiple floods right now though? There's like several states that have major floods happening, not just Texas. Let's see what I can find about that.
You know, it's the fires too, right? You talk about the Maui fires, you
Mhm.
talk about up in Jasper and all these fires, a lot of these fires, it just so happens this is also where they've got plans of doing what do they call it? These smart cities where it's going to be
Mhm.
yeah, a lot of
15-minute
surveillance.
cities. Everything's within 15 minutes of walking. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, very very concerning. Man, I wish I had a I wish I would have saved that or had access for that, but it was saying that like it mentioned like 8 to 12 fires and how each of them had like plans to do one of these cities, and it was just oh perfect. Now they everything's gone. They can start fresh.
Right. And that is one of the conspiracies about the last hurricane that came into the North Carolina area, because there were contracts already paid for, bought up or whatever for the lithium, I think it was, in those areas that people live. And so there was a theory at that time that, hey, they just want to wipe out all the houses so that they can come through and scoop up the lithium mine. And I wouldn't see. I don't see that being that far fetched. It's definitely possible.
No man, bad guys. You can trust them to be bad and do bad things. And
China's flooding too. Go ahead.
dude, well, that hurricane was like something like a once in a hundred kind of event, and the way that that unfolded, there was all these videos of kind of these NORAD stations kind of firing, and what they were showing is they were firing where the hurricane didn't go, and so Dane Wigington, his point was that, look, this is how they steer these things: is that I think it's ionizing the atmosphere,
Yeah.
and then so the path where it went, these you can see these things were firing. They weren't firing there, so it just went straight up there, and that was a really really rare event because usually when hurricanes get over land, they lose their wind speed, they lose their capacity to do damage this way, and this one really didn't. So
We got Frog Hopper in the house. Thanks for coming up, man. It's always supposed to be a group effort on Thursdays, so we want to hear from you. I saw you made a comment there. It said, "Clone a cloud today." Is that like the that's the corporate
Yeah,
ad for you to be able to pay them to buy your own
yeah.
cloud?
Government's cloning clouds. They got it going on. Look at that flood.
This is in
Mm-mm.
Texas, Kempner, Texas. This was on July 13th. So there, the first floods were like around the 8th and or 8th or 9th, and then here they come again. Uh, this river rose 33 feet in 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
33 feet. National. Okay, this is July 8th. Yeah, so this is the first one, and here's the next one. Like I wouldn't think there'd be any more water to come out. And then here's China from July 12th. I don't know where this one is from. It just says, oh, here it goes. North Carolina. There's a major flooding taking place. It's July 15th. Uh, Alamance County in North Carolina right now. I mean, how can so many places be flooding at the same time while our ice caps are actually growing? Like, is it because somewhere else is being dried out? Like, to your point, Johnny, maybe somewhere else is the humidity and moisture is being like sucked away from places where it maybe normally would be, and they're creating like weather where it normally shouldn't be. Which, what does it do? Like, there's only so much humidity. It's not creating more. I mean, it might be pulling it out of the ocean, but then I think our ocean levels are actually the ocean levels might be receding. I don't think it's really much different. I don't know.
You,
It's very
you
confusing.
know, Waylon, it's. I think it has something to do with like El Nino, El Nino, and right now we're in El Nino, which is supposed to be lots of rain, very productive crops, whatever, and especially in my area, in Texas area. El Nino is gonna bring up lots of rains and potentially floods, as you're seeing, where El Nino will be dry and rather rough of a summer months. So, that could be something to think about too.
I wonder if there's another way to artificially pump humidity into an area or pull it out, because heating it up is about the only thing I can think of that I know that we can do. It's like use ionizing the atmosphere. We got Kim in the house with us. Hi, Kim.
Hey guys, sorry I
what?
fell asleep.
Hey,
What?
Kim.
I worried about you because I'm like, I usually hear from Kim like half hour before the show. So yeah, I'm glad
Yeah,
you stopped up. Uh,
I have a lot going on here at my house. My house is torn up right now, but I fell asleep like I'm so tired.
it's okay. Hope you got it. Hope it was a good nap. Sometimes when I take a nap, I wake up with a headache, and rather than for being refreshed,
Yeah.
I'm on
No,
camera.
it's all right. I'm just kind of groggy.
Camera.
Cloudy with a chance of rain.
Cloudy with a chance of meatballs.
Yeah,
That's
we got thunder going on outside right now. Ruidoso. I don't know if you guys heard in the news about Ruidoso, New Mexico. Oh, there it is
Is it
right
flooding
now.
too? There it
Yeah,
is. Yeah.
they had another flash flood up there. But they get a lot of rainfall. It's in the mountains. It's a resort. In the wintertime, they have a ski resort up there and stuff. So
Yeah,
they
but
get a
that looks unnatural.
oh, this is unnatural. But part of what's going on with them
is they had a really bad forest fire last year. And so they have a lot of area surrounding the whole city that's a big burn scar. And, once you have a forest fire, it takes like 7 years for the soil to recover. And until then, it's a mess. Like the ground can't absorb any of that water.
So I could see that being a problem, but as far as the recovery rate, that sounds weird because doesn't isn't it a natural process for forest fires to occur and to clear underbrush and to like create that nitrogen for the soil and then it goes back in. But maybe so 7 years is I've never looked into how long it takes. I just know that it's something that's supposed to happen every so often.
Well, the initial, I don't know how many years it is with this particular part, but what happens with the forest fire is it turns the soil, the silica in the soil to like a glass,
Mm,
like glass.
hmm.
So it takes years for that soil to recover to where, I don't know.
I see.
I
Yeah,
don't
I
know
got
the
you.
exact details, but I know it takes 7 years after you have a massive forest fire like that for the forest to fully recover.
Here's last year. This is last year in Tennessee and North Carolina. I guess this is when the maybe after the hurricanes.
Yeah.
Once in a while. So these are once in a lifetime events. This is someone's quote. It's like, well, wait a year. Hold my hold my hold my flood. Here you go. Uh, this is July 5th from the. So this is the first one, and then
Well, and Texas just got hit again the other day. A different part of
right.
Texas just got hit. You want to know what's crazy? So I get like a newsletter thing in my email, and a lot of the times I don't really pay attention to it because a lot of stuff I just don't care about. But it comes from Snopes, and so I listen to Snopes. I go to Snopes when I want to know what's going on with something because they research it. But I live right next door to Texas. And so I hear a lot of and I listen to my news out of Texas a lot of the times. And a lot of people there are calling on, they're calling out the government. I'm trying to find the right words. They're calling out the government because there was no system in place for all of that. And I don't know, there's just been a lot of chatter about it, about people being pissed off because, and they're questioning the state government and stuff like that. So anyway, this morning, um, I got this email, from Snopes, and one of the topics was about people are saying that the state of Texas had declined a 10 million. The federal government under Biden had offered like $10 million to the state of Texas, and they were saying the people that are spreading this stuff online are saying that um, that money was supposed to go to a flood warning system or something, and it wasn't. And so Snopes, investigated it and stuff. I shared it on my one of my timelines this morning. But anyway, what they were saying, what Snopes said was that that's indeed true, that but it wasn't quite what people are saying. So, as part of the money that the Biden administration sent out during COVID for like COVID relief or something like that,
Mhm.
that they offered the state of Texas $10 million, and there was no stipulation on what it was to be spent for. But instead of using it for flood control stuff, which apparently was something that was discussed in the state legislature or somewhere in the state, they used it for money to upgrade the sheriff communication system in Kerr County. But the kicker to the reason why they didn't want to take that money was because Kerr County is a very conservative county. It's one of the most conservative counties in the state of Texas, and they didn't want the money because it came from Biden.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be strings attached.
I don't
mean,
think there were any strings attached. That was money that was sent out to all the states. It wasn't just Texas. Like a bunch of money. It was like these big grants that were
Oh, I
sent
know.
out.
But you got to realize that some states would rather pay for things themselves because then they don't have that looming. I'll pull your funding, like whatever possibility.
Yeah, but they still took the money and they used it. They just didn't use it for what the
Right.
people
That
wanted it used
sounds
for.
like something weird.
So now I'm sitting here like going, now we have, I don't know, the death count, I think today I heard was like there's 130 bodies been found and there's still 150 bodies still missing or something like that.
So you want to? You
Should have
think
taken
that
fucking money and spent it
right.
on in the right way.
It's like Katrina 2.0, sort of?
Yeah, well, instead of fucking using it, instead of playing politics with it, you should have fucking taken care of your people.
So do you think this flood was man-made?
No.
Let me show you something that you missed while you were gone. So at the top of this thread here, there is a company called, oh shit, is it over here? It's over here. There's a company that's called Rainmaker. Their CEO has now been on TV saying that they actually that they did this. It I don't. I guess we should listen to it. It's 1 minute. I might be okay. Anyway, they say it's for religious reasons, which sounds crazy. Let's listen to what he says.
People can listen to longer form interviews that you have done about some of the safety and research that you've done on what you use to cloud seed. Now, I want you to please address a larger question, which is one that is somewhat broad and perhaps even religious. But are you playing God? Are you messing with things that you shouldn't be messing with when it comes to the weather?
I get this question all the time, and I totally think it makes sense to ask it. My intention is to serve God. I think that in Genesis 1:26 through 28, and then throughout the Psalms and the rest of the Bible, God tells us to take dominion over and steward creation, both for our sake, creation's itself, and then to honor him. And so if there are droughts and we have the tools to mitigate the damage done by them for our sake and for nature itself, then we should deploy those for the sake of tending to and stewarding the world. And if we weren't to do that, if we were to ban cloud seeding wholesale, despite knowing that it's safe, despite knowing it could help alleviate these problems, we'd be abdicating our God-given responsibility to be stewards of the world.
Okay, let's address what people can listen.
Did you guys hear that?
Yeah, that's a snippet. I'd like to hear.
Well, there's several people posting about it. I don't know. I mean, you're right.
Yeah, but people posting about it, just because people are talking about it doesn't make it fact. It just is people talking about it.
It depends on the person, because some people aren't out there trying to get like, there's some people, I don't know if I would say Russell Brand is one of them. Some personalities out there are known for what's the word, being more hesitant about jumping on to something until they see some evidence. And some of those people are not going to just jump on every time, because look at what happened to Alex Jones. Like, he jumped on something somebody gave him, and then boom, he got sued for his whole fucking company. So they are very, very hesitant about doing that these days. I'm not going to say it's true or not. To your point, Kim, I'd like to see the rest of the interview, but Russell Brand is a pretty big personality to be out there talking about it right away.
Well, just because people are talking about it doesn't mean that it's like what they're saying is truthful or, whatever. From what I know about seed clouding, I have a little bit of knowledge about it from my ag background.
Yeah.
There are companies that are seed clouding. Seed clouding is something that they are doing. The government has seed clouding activities. There's private enterprises that are seed clouding. But seed clouding is not it doesn't produce enough rain for a catastrophic event like what happened with Texas. Now, what does cause catastrophic rains for something like Texas is global warming, and people don't want to hear global warming, but the fact of the matter is that what holds rain like that is heat, and there's a lot of heat in our fucking atmosphere that's creating all of this rain. I think this is the year of La Nina, and I think it's La Nina that causes La Nina. El Nino is dry. I think it's one. I get confused. It's one or the other, but one of them creates more rain, and the other one creates more dryness, from what I understand. And this year, they predicted that this year was going to be a La Nina year. So, I'm more inclined to feel like, here's my personal thing, and I was just talking about my boyfriend. I don't know what else to call him. We were having this discussion recently, and my personal thing about cloud seeding, what bothers me about cloud seeding is it comes back to Newton's third law, where that whole, you have the force and you have another force on the other side of it that's equally, has equal force or whatever to it. But on the other side, when you fuck around with Mother Nature and you take the rain that exists naturally, you take that moisture from somewhere and you move it into one concentrated place. I mean, what are you doing? What are the consequences of that somewhere else? You know what I mean? Or is what they're doing with cloud seeding going to add to what's already happening with global warming kinds of stuff? I don't know. There's just a lot of scientific stuff that I have questions about, that's research based. That's not a bunch of, well, I think this or I think that or whatever. There's actual like science behind it.
Yeah. There's science showing that and this is not the only time I've seen it, I just pulled it up here, that the Arctic sea ice is growing as to where the Antarctic sea ice is decreasing, which is puzzling scientists because, like it says here, puzzling scientists given global warming. However, 2014, it was declining sharply with record lows, 2017, 2022, 23, 24, second lowest winter maximum at 6.63 million square miles. The 2023 minimum was 1.99 million square kilometers. Warmer seas, surface temperatures, changing wind patterns. Here's a problem. Here's something that the global warming alarmists don't want to talk about, is the more solar and wind that we use, the more you're going to heat up the oceans and heat up the planet, because you're taking away the wind, which helps to create currents and helps to cool the earth. And if we start slowing the planet's wind like that too much, it's going to be bad. Carbon we can deal with. We know how to sequester carbon. We know how to put carbon back into the ground. We know how to take carbon out of the air and make graphene. Like, there's multiple things we can use carbon for. I don't think we should be worried about fossil fuels at all. I think we should be worried about the Pacific garbage patch and pollution, actual chemical pollution that we still have to deal with, instead of worrying about cow farts and extra, carbon dioxide. I think that is something we could actually control. We can't control the nonstop, the pollution and the everything. I always thought, we've talked about this before, but I always thought it was funny where they got us to get away from the talk about pollution back in the the 80s and 90s, when it was the Planeteers and Captain Planet. That was what's up. Let's clean up this trash. And then they switched it. They got us to switch over to, now we're worried about like burning too much oil. Like, that's the only thing we care about now, rather than toxic waste and sludge this and the crazy like villains in that show. Like, that stuff made sense. Now it's just like big oil. Like, come on. We do have problems with this because of petroleum based products like plastic, right? The microplastics. That's still a problem we got to figure out. But I think burning oil for fuel is probably not as bad as some people think. That's my opinion. Take it or leave it. But in order to, I don't know, maybe cloud seeding could be used to make more wind, and make extra, like create extra wind from like low pressure and high pressure situations. What if we could harness a tornado for energy, Johnny? What about like or that idea about uh, steering a hurricane or a tornado? What if we could somehow harness it in an area and we were just like getting power from it?
Doesn't there got to be some way to harvest the lightning, right?
Yeah, that's what I always thought. Like, bring back the fucking Dr. Frankenstein's idea and have lightning rods everywhere. That's what people used to have, but it wasn't to get the power. It was just to send it into the ground, right?
Right. So I guess the idea is that it's just way too much electricity at one time, but I would think that, somehow you could kind of manage it where, it would charge up one spot and then just keep going, charge up the next battery, keep going, charge it up, and then if it was too much for all your batteries, just kind of, yeah, then ground it, right? I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like you're right. There's definitely going to be a point when we can do that. I don't know what would happen, though. Do you think there's some sort of natural balance we would upset by absorbing all the lightning? I don't know. We don't. It's unknown territory. Ben Franklin, what do you know? Diane, what's up? What'd she say? It's been dry here, Georgia, where I am last couple weeks. Well, it's actually been really wet here in Illinois. We've actually had more rain this year than normal. I don't know. I don't know if I want to go global warming. The climate definitely changes, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, but the kind of climate change we're experiencing right now is man-made. It's not natural. So,
is it just from cow farts, Kim, or what do you think? What's the problem? Does it have anything to do with them spraying aluminum into the atmosphere, or is it have something? Because think about what that.
I think it's everything. I think that people need to quit fucking around with nature, is what I think. I think that we've been, there was a point in time when, I was all about progress and technology and, being all enchanted with these new malls and these big buildings and stuff like that. And now I'm like, I'm not about that anymore. It upsets me when they tear up a natural thing that exists out there and pave it and put up a parking lot, or a building or whatever the fuck they're doing. Um, I think that all of that stuff, I think there's a natural balance to things, and that we just need to quit building shit everywhere and quit trying being all excited about, I don't know, things that are not healthy. I think that's what the problem is. Cloud seeding came about as a result of, I want to say, the Dust Bowl, I think, or something related to the Dust Bowl.
I don't know. Johnny brought it up earlier, and I saw this story a long time ago too. What was it? The Vietnam War, or was it? What war was it? There's actual video. I saw a video one time of like this, supposedly this pass where the enemy troops were going to have to come through. I don't know which side did what, but supposedly they caused a torrential rain in order to keep them from passing. That's the story I remember. Is that what you heard, Johnny?
Yeah, well, in Vietnam they extended the monsoon season by a month or two, and so then then when they wanted the monsoon season to stop, they could kind of control that, and they could have their guys ready. No, hey, listen, we're gonna be doing our thing after that. So yeah, that was widely known, and then yeah, they steered a hurricane. There was something that was like 40 years ago, and I think it didn't go well. I think it actually hurt a lot of people because they didn't do what they thought it would, but it
I
did
believe that.
They did steer it, maybe not how they wanted. So,
and to Kim's point, yeah, we keep. There's always going to be somebody trying to push the limits of what they can do, and when they do that, it's not like we know most experimentation comes out not the way you're expecting or hoping for. That's how they create things that they weren't expecting. Like that's how these pharmaceuticals end up getting used for other ailments, or they create ailments for them because they end up making something they didn't expect to make. That happens with almost every invention, every new advancement. So I don't know. What do you think about this, though, Kim? I talked about it a little bit earlier, but other countries are going to do this, and so you can see like weather modification being a warfare tactic eventually, where you can more or less launch a hurricane at another country. Is like, and that's real shit. I mean, that's going to probably be the next major event. Although right now, like the digital world seems to be have more of a hold on us than the physical world. I don't know. I can't tell which one's going to be the next battleground. The internet is a battleground already, but there are real battles happening in real life as well. Maybe both. I don't know. We'll see. I like the idea that if we don't do something, we know someone else is going to do it, so we're going to have to attempt it, or at least try to control it, quote unquote, for the side of good. Take that with a grain of salt for sure. But like, it's almost like nukes. If another country can do it, we better know how to do it too, right? It's kind of sad, but that's how it happens. Every new weapon has to be mastered by us too. We got to make sure we can do it just like they can, or I don't know.
Well, you do. You have to keep on top of your enemies because you don't want your enemies to have. I mean, it's all a matter of survival. You know,
Yep.
so if your enemies have it, you've got to stay on top of your enemies. That's the unfortunate thing about a war machine.
Remember that Chinese weather balloon that we found on the near the
One that,
Canadian border?
yeah, the one
Uh,
that Biden shot down or had shot down or whatever.
yeah, I mean, some of that stuff, it could be as simple as having a laser mounted to a weather balloon that, you know, causes certain temperatures to rise in clouds, and and maybe it wouldn't cause a monsoon yet, but I think that's not too far off. To Johnny's point, I think they are able to, when it already happens, and let's face it, the prediction of the weather, we like to think it's flawed. The weatherman can be wrong all the time, but when it counts, they can see, like, they being like higher up, you know, Defense Department people can look at patterns and find things in the atmosphere and find out, okay, there's probably going to be a big storm coming, and that's when places like the FBI will, not the FBI, was it Homeland, or is it FEMA? I don't know. There were some like warnings ahead of time. This time in Texas, they had some kind of warnings just ahead of time, and everybody said, "Oh yeah, we've had a lot of rain before," and a lot of people didn't leave. I forget what the department was, or organization was. Anyway, my point is, we can know when there's sort of the conditions are just right, and then maybe nudge it to where we want.
Well,
But I don't think we're.
cloud seeding only increases precipitation by like 20% of whatever.
Well, sometimes that's enough. That's what I mean. If they can
Right.
find
It's
just the
not.
right
Yeah. I
just
don't
the
know
right
where you're going
environment.
with that.
Huh?
I don't know where you're going with that.
I'm saying that I don't think that we are to the point yet where I just had a thing come up on my screen and asked me to block somebody. Um, anyway, I don't think we're to the point yet where we can create tornadoes or hurricanes. We are only to the point where they can sort of predict when they're going to happen, and then possibly direct it, or whatever. Block says busy Dr. T. They will be able to see your public posts, but will no longer be able to engage with them. I have no idea why this is coming up. I don't even know who that is. Anyway, we'll just cancel that. Okay, so guys, I want to make sure I tell everybody we're almost at the hour mark. I'm about to do the number wheel for my subscribers. If you want to get in on the post tonight for the not the post, but the door prize wheel, you'll have to come over to Rumble or Locals. Kind of lacking on the Locals to their Rumble today. What's going on, Rumblers? Only 3 people hanging out on Rumble? Must be something big happening right now. Maybe I picked the wrong category. I don't know. Sometimes that can mess me up. But we got 9 people on the Facebook. Come over to Rumble. Let's get the Rumble chat going and come over there for the door prize. We'll get you on it. Anyway, it's pretty sad to say that we're worried about our government causing big storms on us, but it could be other people. It could be not just our government. We touched on this earlier, but they most certainly would destroy whole towns in order to gain the land. Companies would, mining, the lithium mines in North Carolina, or the lithium fields or something like that. I guess there's a lot of lithium underneath.
Waylon, the funny part of it is we can actually make fuel from water.
Yeah, hydrogen.
Right.
Yeah.
And we can get a rocket to space, using hydrogen. I don't know why, which I know we can. We can put it in cars and drive them just like we do our automobiles today. And I've actually made hydrogen gas out on my back porch, and I've blowed a few things up on accident and on purpose. But, it's pretty simple to make a little hydrogen generator and add it to an automobile and boost your gas mileage. But when indeed you could run a car on it, period.
Well, I had a conversation with a guy one time on an airplane. I was sitting next to this guy that was I guess you could say was a rocket scientist. And he was working on, he worked for one of the companies that is a contractor for NASA. And so we had a long conversation about different stuff. But I remember at the time, this is back in like around 2005, 2006, somewhere around in there, him telling, because I asked him about hydrogen technology. And this, like I said, it's been 20 years now since all of that. But he said at the time that hydrogen was not a good alternative because it wasn't safe enough
Of course not.
put in an automobile.
No, you wouldn't want to do that, but you could pack it on the backside of a rocket and send, thousands and thousands of gallons into space with no problem. But if you get out here and have a fender bender, boom, No, it's not true. The thing of it is finding a way to store the hydrogen gas, which there is a way, but the government controls that product that you can store it with. You can't make it for your house use because, you'd have to store, let's say, 500 gallons of it. And one spark, that would be a huge explosion.
Why would you have to store so much? Couldn't we find a way that we use it as soon, right at the production, like right at the
as
point
you
where
make
from water to, right as it's being made, and then you don't have to, then you'll have a small possibility of explosion and such.
But
I think it's because it's dangerous. It's probably why things around it are controlled. That would be my
actually
guess.
it's safe. If you know what you're doing, it's safe.
Gasoline's pretty dangerous.
If you know what you're doing, but
it took me a few tries, but I figured it out.
They have come a long way on it, though. I'll give you this, Kim. I was looking into the hydrogen, like probably 10 years ago, and they talked about how they could put a fuel cell underneath the car, and the problem is one spark and it could go. But that's been a dozen years. They've got to have some.
Well, I know that I saw something recent in the last year about hydrogen in vehicles, and they have come a long way. I haven't really looked into it because God knows that I just have so much time for shit anymore. But
they actually take this material that has to be made. And like I say, the government is the one that holds the material to make it. But the way they do it is they take this material and they pack it down inside of a cylinder, and as they heat it, it releases that nitrogen from that material. That's, they use just a small heater in there, and it, kind of, it would contain it, or one end would blow off and keep a major from explosion from happening. But there's, they're making it a reason not to use it.
Well, the only other thing that I could think of that the government would have like a major interest in, controlling things would be the fact that it uses water.
Well, you can make one that runs off your alternator on your car that will do the electrolysis, and like I said, provide some gas. It'll save you some gas on your vehicle, especially in your later models, like in your 95s on up to 2007. You just put it into your breather, and as you're running your vehicle and the alternator is making current, well, then it's making nitrogen gas and feeding it into your motor.
I've seen a couple of small designs on how to do this. I don't know. I don't. I think there's an answer where we can kind of combine a lot of things or have multiple. I saw someone talk about it like, well, what's the next major fuel? Well, the person said, well, probably multiple things. Like, it's going to branch out to where people will have options. Although regulation and stuff is probably going to end up, unfortunately, making it where it will be illegal to drive one day, because once they can give numbers that accurately say it's safer for driverless vehicles, then there will be legislation to force it. And then what's going to happen in floods? Like the car is going to be like, oh, it's flood. Maybe the car will have like a flotation device.
The
like,
Jetsons.
That's
yeah,
not
man.
reasonable.
You'll live way up there on the water tower.
I don't know. But what if it realizes there's a catastrophic thing happening, a mudslide or a rock slide or a flood, and the car is able to like close up like tightly, like lock down, and then I don't know, make like a survival pod, I guess, in the future. I don't know. Like we've had examples of it. Was it Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone, where he gets into a wreck in a future car, and the whole car fills up with this foam.
Bubble wrap.
Yeah, like I could see I could see something. I could see a device in the future with the car, like if there's something like where like you go off the water or off the road into a river or water somewhere, then should be some kind of a thing that keeps the car afloat. I don't know. It's a thought. Anyway, so we talked about cloud seeding, but we didn't really talk about that company that everybody brings up, Harp. Now, this other company, what was it called? Rainmaker. Oh, by the way, I didn't say the winner. The winner was number 6, Trent Allgood. Congrats, Trent.
Lucky Joker.
Congrats, Trent. What's that?
I said that lucky Joker. I talked to him today.
Nice, man. He's got some crazy hauls in his farm. Kim, what'd you say?
I said, "Hey, Trent."
That was just the number wheel, so I don't think Trent's here right now. But yeah, he's been sending me pictures of his garden and stuff. I see you, Brenda. I'm gonna get you on the door prize.
Hey, shouts out to him too, because he picks all that produce and then gives it around to the elderly people that can't get out and do it.
Trent's got a nice plot of land. I don't know how much acreage he's got, but boy, he sure farms the heck out of it.
Did I spell it right? Let's see. Radiation poisoning keywords. Geoengineering. Geoengineering is something that it's a new term people are using. They say this is radiation poisoning. I don't know. The depopulation agenda.
I don't believe
Look,
that.
look like my lungs on Reggie is what it looked like.
Whoa, look at this. Yeah, I did.
If
Oh,
anybody were
man.
to anybody were to need to use depopulation and would use it, would be China. So I just don't believe that depopulation is a thing.
I wonder though. I feel like population maintenance or culling a little bit. When you think of depopulation, I think it's something that could easily get out of control. And I think these people who whatever name the boogeyman, who we think talks about it, I think they are hesitant to use it on a massive scale because they while they may want to bust us back, like what is it? Bill Gates said 500,000 or was it 500 million people or something? I think he was his goal or something like that. Um, although they may want that number, it's going to be really hard to sort of pinpoint accurately, like break us down to that. I think a lot of people die every day. A lot of people are born every day. Somehow the population is still going up. If we're to believe the world census, how are we? I mean, how accurate do you think the numbers are on the world? Johnny, you got something?
I do got something, there is a conspiracy theory, by the way, that the population may be a lot less than what we have. They say the way that conspiracy goes is like they say there's like a 1.3 billion people in India, and if you start adding up the big cities like Mumbai, New Delhi, you don't get near that number. Maybe you get to like 20% of there. And the way a lot of these things works, like the 80-20 rule is like you would maybe guess that 80% of the people would be living in cities, but it doesn't seem that way. And it's kind of the same thing when you look in China, that there's just not that many people living in the big cities. When you start adding up, like, how are you going to get to a billion people? So,
It is
but
weird, yeah.
but man, what I wanted to say is, yeah, I think depopulation seems real. I think that Americans are so sick, and because we're eating poison in our food, and I think that I first heard this idea of a depopulation conspiracy theory maybe like 7 years ago, and I thought it was too far out there. I said, no way, get out of here. There's not just anybody in charge or in power that really wants to do that. And you could, a lot of the things that we see, you could say, well, they're doing it for profits. Okay, they're just pushing toxic food on us to sell poison, and then they get money on the other side, curing cancer, selling chemo. So I see that. But Kim, the thing is that we've got them on tape so many times talking about it, how they want to do it. Bill Gates talking about the need for population control. He's got his hands in everything. The World Health Organization, on and on and on, everywhere. So
Well,
yeah,
I don't disagree with population control personally. I'm not against population control. Not here necessarily here in the United States, but I definitely think that there are places in the world that have way too many people. I mean, look at China. Like, I would hate to be a Chinese person. Have you seen how they live?
so China
Apart
and all the
skyscraper
countries.
apartment buildings that are like, I don't even know how tall they are. I don't know how many stories
I
tall
think
they are, and teeny tiny little apartments. What kind of life is that? Like, what kind of quality of life are you having living like that? And the same in India. Like, those people, and I'm not against them. It's not like this isn't, for me, it's not a racist thing. It's just those places are so overpopulated, and those people are just like, how, what's your quality of life living like that?
Yeah, I'm not one for cities myself either, but we got our share of big cities all over our country as well. And a lot
Well,
of people
I'm
dig the
not
cities.
against big cities. This isn't about big cities. This is just about, China even tries to address it by, controlling how many kids you can have. And there's all kinds of things that they have done in their society to try and control it. Some evil, evil things. I don't know about India, but probably not so much in India because there's a lot of religious stuff there. But I
Yeah,
don't
we're
know. I mean,
well,
I'm not
we're
against population
we're in
control.
a fertility crisis in most countries. So pretty much the only countries that are increasing in population at this point are maybe China, India, and in Africa. Everywhere else, we're getting decimated. We're having like, less than 2.1 children per woman. So it's a lot.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out which sex is which. Men to men and women to women, and I mean it's all messed up. I'll be surprised there be any babies in 5 years.
I could see, like, to Kim's point, it's very easy to see footage of overcrowded cities and stuff, but I don't think that's a sign that we are overpopulated. I think it's a problem of people and wanting convenience and wanting that close, like they want to be able to within walking distance. Like Johnny was talking about earlier, these 15-minute cities that they've taught. I saw this design for one was in Saudi Arabia, I think it was, and or was it Ethiopia? I can't remember, but I think it's Saudi Arabia. This crazy city where it's like this long, it's just like one long strip, and wherever you live at in that strip, you'll have every like amenity that you need within a 15-minute walk, and like you won't even need to visit anywhere. Like it's just a weird idea.
Be like living in a Temu, huh?
Yeah, a little pod or whatever, you'd be able to eat the bugs. I don't know. It is scary though, because I think we have room. I think it's just that people, and we know how to terraform. We know how to dig through mountains. Like we can. I think we need to put more infrastructure underground, or Johnny left us. Johnny could have said, oh, there he just shut off his camera. Okay.
What's up, brother?
At least say bye before you leave.
I'm listening.
Okay.
All right.
So anyway, we can.
I think there's too many people on this earth, and I think it's unhealthy, and I don't think that the earth can support all the people. We're going to run out of water, all kinds of stuff. I think that there's a big problem, and it's out of balance, and it's not every country that's out of balance. These countries like the United States, developed countries that they call developed countries, where women have rights, and they have control over whether they want to get pregnant or not, have a lot to do with that.
You keep putting people on it, and it's going to sink slowly. Earth's going to start sinking because they had too many people on it.
Too heavy, yeah.
I don't know. Actually, I don't know that I agree with that. I don't know if you're joking or what, but
all of the carbon that is on the planet is on the planet. Like other than addition of like meteorites and stuff like that. So like us as people, we actually we are part of the planet in that we make up, like our cells make up things that were grown on this planet, and so we are literally part of the planet, especially when we go back to it in the earth. Although it's kind of crazy that we embalm ourselves, because then our bodies are literally not usable by the ground. Like we don't.
Well, not only that, but we're like freaking mummified. Ew. When I
like why?
When I die, I said I don't care what you do with my body. I said, but I do not want to be. I do not want to be embalmed in a casket. And
no, it's
that just horrifies me. It's like, like, what the fuck? We're sitting here planting people in the ground for what reason? It's like King Tut. Like, I don't know. Can you imagine being dug up in like 100 years or 1,000 years? Somebody coming up and digging your body up? I just don't. That creeps me out.
Well, I just think of the circle of life and this recycling, the cycle of our bodies being recycled into the earth. Like it just is that part is being cut away now, and so we're literally siphoning off the earth's nutrition by growing humans that then don't replenish the ground by.
Well, yeah, we're total parasites. Humans are parasites.
If we were actually decomposing like we should, then that we feed the planet, we feed the earth back the carbon that we spent years growing. Anyway, it's interesting to see this unfold, because it's not going to stop. Like it's only going to get, you're going to see more and more people trying to manipulate. Hell, to Leslie's point, there'll be people at home experimenting with the clouds using lasers and shit from homemade little setups. Eventually, you'll have somebody that caused a tornado one day. I don't know. It's pretty freaky. There's a lot of evidence here, but it's hard to know what's real, what's not real. A lot of people talk about HARP, so it's like a magnet for the strange ones, like these people that want to tell you about the clouds, like the shape of the clouds. And I can see kind of what they're saying in this cloud here. Well, let me scroll down. But the ones that really get me are the obvious streaks that we were talking about early in the show, where there's a bunch of them crisscrossing each other, and they're saying that this is a man-made cloud.
Yep.
I don't know. Anyway, I can see
instead of down. I mean, look at the ground how it cracks.
Yeah.
And moves and shifts. Actually got places over here where how the bricks are falling off people's houses because the ground is shifting so bad.
Look at this person, someone named Sam. HARP ionospheric heaters discovered all over the world, used for weather modification.
Oh, come on.
These towers. I don't know. Not too many people picked that one up. Tex Americana. NBC News confirms cloud seeding operation by Rainmaker Inc. So this was from NBC. Were in fact conducted in Texas 2 days before flooding disaster. What else are they doing? DARPA using Nextrad. Nextrad is another term I keep seeing.
Yeah, but they weren't cloud seeding in that area. So they neglected to say the whole story there. It's just a snippet of what was discussed because I saw that same broadcast.
No, they literally said in Texas. They're not hiding the. They're not saying
there was a whole lot more said on NBC News about that than what's conveyed in this little thing.
Oh, they got it right here. 3 minutes of it.
And then earlier tonight, the CEO of a...
Oh, no, this isn't NBC. Wait, breaking NBC News confirms cloud seeding operations were in fact conducted. Yeah, I mean, it definitely leads you to think that. But I'm sure that you wouldn't have to be in that city in order to point it at clouds over another city. Like, it's probably got some range to it.
Hey, you want to see something crazy? Look up square clouds. You want to see some crazy looking clouds?
Ooh.
Yeah.
So, clouds. This person says cloud seeding science is just another term for geoengineering. So people are using those two terms, square clouds.
Yeah, there was this massive square cloud on the radar.
Whoa.
Look at that. It's like, what? Bro. Come on. Come on, bro.
That looked like AI generated there. Huh?
Maybe, but I've never seen one in person. Have you seen one in person, Johnny?
I haven't seen a square cloud in person, but, I've seen where you can see it's a blue sky day, not a cloud in the sky. And then later that day, you see where, these exhaust, these tails, these contrails or chemtrails or whatever they are have, been left there. They haven't dissipated and they've spread out, and you kind of have this cirrus cloud forming. And the idea that everything you're seeing is kind of seeded with a neurotoxin is pretty unsettling.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Whether or not I can know that it's true or not, I can definitely be a concern for sure. I don't know what this guy's telling me, but I'm not gonna listen just yet. No. There's the same video. Okay, I'm only seeing one video. Here's what I kind of was talking about. This looks like it's been. I feel like they added lines to some of these pictures, you know?
No. There's so many pictures like this. It's crazy. So now here's one way to think about this. Let's imagine this is near an airport, and let's imagine the clouds are just naturally moving like left to right, right? There's some airflow, and so as another plane lands or another plane takes off or another plane, flies by, it's like, okay, you could see how the lines could kind of form in a way like this. But these grid patterns, man, you see these in weird places where you're not near an airport. So I was like in the middle of Iowa somewhere. I wasn't even near Des Moines, and it was like, yeah, what is this grid formation up in the sky about? So very concerning. And then so there's ways you can kind of like check out you can monitor the flight paths that are going on. This is like public information. And then people will say like, what is this plane doing? Because he's just going back and forth and just inching a line like a snake. And it's crazy. You see what some of these planes are doing. And you can imagine like, okay, well, once in a while that could be like for search and rescue. Once in a while, it could be explainable. But there's a lot of instances of that kind of flight plan being called out.
Here's one where there's a square missing.
Maybe it was where that other one was.
Yeah, they picked it up and set it in the other one.
Yeah.
This is that same video, so I keep seeing that same video being circulated.
Well, we got more
so many clouds. I see you, Joe, and Diane on the locals. Kayla on locals. What's up? Yeah, I don't know. I definitely see like they have a lot of stuff in our water, in our ground. When I say they, it's not just one entity either. It's anybody that sort of has the ability to do it and get away with it. They seem to do it, whatever it is. Like it's what's sad is that we can't really trust our science to like we call it the science community, I guess, because they've shown that things like the peer-reviewed journals can be corrupted and can be falsified, which makes me not really believe a whole lot of much of anything that comes out from official sources,
No, they're dumping their waste in our little roadside creeks or anything they can do to get by with not having to pay to get rid of it.
Right, I'm with Kim on this though. In a way, here, Kim, I like this idea I had a long time ago. I thought like we need to live on space stations, but then just come down to the Earth to visit. Like the Earth should be like a massive national park, to where we're allowed to visit for a certain amount of time, go camping and stuff, and like live in the wilderness. But most of the time we live up on like in space stations. I don't know. I know that's crazy.
I like living right here where my feet are on the ground and there's oxygen.
What if they came to you, Kim, and they were like, "Listen, we agree with you. The world has too many people, and we voted. We're going to start with you. We're going to start making this world a better place, Kim. We're going to start alleviating."
I'm going to give you your phone number.
Me? No, I'm not. Like they're going to say, okay, everyone who advocates for a population control, they will have to go first, and then it's just like this thought of like people who
maybe I can't have any more populations, so they need to go to people that can populate, not people
right. They're going to have to get rid of people that can't help keep the. They're going to have to get rid of anyone that wants to lower the population.
What's the smoke like when we get there? That's what I got to know.
Right.
I don't think we have a population problem here in the United States. I think the population problems exist in other places.
I bet you could go to places in different cities that you would feel different. It'd be hard to point to one right now because a lot of cities got cleaned out in COVID, like say Chicago or New York. New
I'm
York would be the one I'd
I'm
point to.
talking about in Asian countries where they have those fuckers procreate like
Okay, so you
rabbits over there.
the famous video in India where the people get on the trains. Oh wow, isn't that so? Isn't that just incredible? And these are people just commuting back and forth to work on the daily. They're jumping up on. They're like, there's no room. They're so crammed into the trains, and then a bunch of people climb up on top and just cover the top. I can't imagine the trains
The
have an
living
easy
condition.
time.
Videos from somewhere in Asia. I don't know if it's China or where exactly, but they're definitely like Asian. And I know that people from India are Asian too, but I'm talking like
I
Chinese or
understand.
something. One of those. But you'll see where like the train pulls up and people start getting on, and there's so many people trying to cram into the train, and there's like a train somebody that works for the train that's got like a little hat, maybe it's security, I don't know what the fuck they are, but anyway, and he's like got a stick like jamming them in so that the doors can close. That freaked me out when I saw that. I saw that about 10 years or so ago. I thought that was
Jamming them in.
yes, it was crazy. Like they were in there. I couldn't imagine living like that. The quality of life, like just I lived in California for 8 years, and those people out there, they commute long distances. You don't get in anywhere in California quickly. Their blocks out there are a mile long. Their blocks are huge. It's just a very spread out, very large everything, and everything's like, and those people don't have a problem commuting, because if anything you do in California, you commute for it, whether it's going to the freaking grocery store or nothing is close. And I get after my son because I'll tell my son, something about coming to my house, and I live 6 fucking miles from my son. And he bitches and complains, you live too far away. I was like, don't you remember when we lived in California, dude? People there live far away. 6 miles is nothing.
I think my
But
mom
the
lives far away.
quality of life that people have when they live in those really dense places is just, I don't know. Like there's a lot of people, they live on top of each other, and
But do you think that's I don't think that's a result or a problem of population. I think it's just certain people congregate together and end up collecting up together, and then there's also a system that sort of is hard to get out of the cities. It's hard to just pick up your stuff and just start walking away from the city. Like you can't just do that. It's so hard for that to happen.
yeah. Well, it's just so like, well, San Francisco, I don't know if you guys have ever been to San Francisco, but San Francisco is
No,
densely populated, and it's like this weird, the topography there is weird, and because it's very rocky and it's like real hilly, and you can tell it's land that was formed by volcanic kinds of activities and earthquakes and stuff. But those people, that's where the money is being made. Everybody wants to be in those places like that because it's beautiful there. They're beautiful, beautiful places. And so
those hills would get me.
oh, dude, those hills
Those
are,
are crazy.
they're
It's freak.
crazy.
You think they would like do something to like slowly adapt that? I don't know, change it somehow. I don't know, but the hills of San Francisco freak me out. And
Yeah.
then that and the human feces, I don't think I'd want to visit for that. But the weather is why people go there who are homeless. Like that's why there's higher populations of homeless in nice areas, obviously. Uh, I
Yeah,
don't
but
know
it's
though.
cold as fuck in San Francisco, dude.
Uh,
Yeah, and that's in the dead of summer. Like it'll be 100 degrees. You go inland about 50 to 100 miles, and it's fucking boiling hot. Because I lived in Sacramento, and it would get like 100, between 100 to 110 degrees at least in the summertime. But you go to San Francisco at that same time, and you're literally freezing to death. It's cold as fuck there. There's only 2 weeks out of the year that the weather is relatively warm, where you're not freezing to death. Like, it's cold. So I don't know what the hell the deal is with living in San Francisco for homeless. They have a lot of them. They have really bad problems with like heroin addiction and stuff like that.
Well, that's
But
why they're there, is because of the policies, the city's policies.
yeah, that could be it, because they have weird shit. Like, I was sitting there because we got our news, so everybody gets their news from KCRA in that area. Even though San Francisco is a really big city, the news agency that handles the news for that region, for San Francisco, for a lot of that area, is KCRA. And so anyway, I was sitting there in my home office one day, and I'm sitting here at my computer, and at the side of my face over here, I have the TV on, and the news is on because it's like that time of the day. And I see something that looks like a lot of flesh. So I look over at my TV, like, what the hell are they doing? Right. And so there's all of these people that are naked. You can't see anything, because they're not showing naughty parts. But then
Uh,
what was going on is San Francisco has, or had, an ordinance that for public nudity, that you could go anywhere in San Francisco naked if you wanted to, and it was not unlawful to do that. And they were trying to amend the ordinance to where people had to wear clothes to court in certain places like that, and people were protesting, so they were protesting naked. But it freaked me out because I'm very conservative. Like, I'm very conservative, and I'm very moral. And so, like I said, I saw out of my peripheral vision what looked like a lot of flesh, and it caught my attention because I was like, what the hell
flesh.
did I see? And it's like these people are naked protesting. And I was like, what the hell is that about? They have some weird shit in California, dude.
Yeah, let me stop and watch this a while.
Take pictures or it didn't happen.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
anything goes state. And I've been to San Francisco on several occasions. It's a cool city. There's a lot of cool stuff there, but after I saw that, I was like, I will not ever sit on a public bench or anything. That grossed
Toilet
me.
seat.
Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to pose one last thing about the topic before we get to the door prize going on. The cloud seeding, I could see it being good. I think, Johnny, I think you might have brought this up the other day, might have been Wednesday, but terraforming deserts or places that we need more humidity, I could see like a light touch being a good thing. Like, okay, let's raise it 10% or something, you know what I mean? Like something to that degree. But the problem is, wars usually drives development, and they're going to find out how they can, like, they're going to push it to the limit. I think is the worry for me as far as like doing this. I don't think they're denying anymore that they have capabilities. We can argue all day about like how much those capabilities are, but I think that's the main concern. But yeah, but my point is, I think there is a light touch that could be used in a good way. Maybe areas, but then you kind of get back to what's the right amount of humidity for a certain area. We don't know. It's called nature for a reason. It's not up to us.
Well, when
You
my
know,
boyfriend and I were talking about this recently, I told him like that
Lisa.
whole Newton's law comes into effect because I live in an arid area. I live in the desert. Okay. And, everything is adapted to live here pretty much unless people bring in stuff. But, if you make humidity here, where is that going to throw somewhere else out of balance?
That's what I said.
There's consequences to everything, and you don't always know them or see them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then
I'm
again,
not a big fan of fucking around with stuff because it's like,
well, that's how we make advancements too, though. Unfortunately,
I realize that, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It concerns me, that stuff. I'm not necessarily a big proponent of advancements. I think, you know, the whole thing that caused the Dust Bowl was modernization and advancement. And, you know, they killed off all the buffalo and they plowed up all the, you know, the natural grasses and the land to do whatever it is that they did out there. And it created the Dust Bowl. And I'm not a big fan of that stuff because there's consequences to things. And I think you have to be careful. I think,
I want to be optimistic about it though. I want to be, and not that I usually am. Technology usually, even though it's a double-edged sword always. Even though we fuck things up by creating stuff, typically more technology is our way out of it. I haven't seen a system yet or a situation yet where we said, "Oh shit, we need to go back to we need to find the Amish community and go back to the old ways." You have the Amish community, you have communities that want to sort of live with the old ways, but even they have lights and they have phones and they have electricity. I think they even have internet. They just aren't allowed to have it. They aren't allowed to own it individually. They have like certain stipulations where their community can have it, but they can't own it themselves and stuff. So even they kind of get drug into the new technology eventually. Even the people that do that. So my point is, like, I haven't yet to see a situation that said that made us go, "Oh man, quickly we need to go backwards and do it the other way we used to do it." Now there are little ways where we adapt the old ways, we add the old ways into our thinking, and it, like say with the herbal medicine and maybe some of the other things. I don't know. What do you think, Johnny? Is it like am I off base by saying that? Because maybe we do we adapt the old ways, but we're not going. We got to turn everything off and go backwards. You know what I mean?
I think you're spot on. You know, it's we got to take the best of both, and yeah, these things are man, things should never have been so easy as they are now. We got the technology, the know-how, and we can still use the natural. But
True.
these Holocaust profiteers, man, they are taking us out. So we gotta wake up to that. Now, what is everybody talking about in the comments? WTIF? What's the I for?
That's me, Waylon, the indoor farmer.
Oh, there we go. Obviously, I'm
It's
like,
it's suspiciously like WTF, but it's
yeah,
not.
yeah. I was just thinking, they're like, what the Incredible? Oh, I don't know.
Nope. Waylon, the indoor farmer. That's me. What's up? Hey guys,
Yeah,
if you're coming in late, come over to the Rumble and you'll get in. Oh hey, what's up, Trent? Come over to Rumble and you'll get in on the door prize. Come on over, hit that like button and comment. Joe Kelly, come on over.
yeah.
I'm gonna
drop down to listener. It's good to see everybody, but I gotta take off. And yeah, man, I tell you, we gotta make our rain medicinal again. Make our skies blue again.
Well, what if we could? What if we could like we talked about Bill Gates talking about making mosquitoes like carry vaccines to where they could bite you and send the vaccine into your skin. What if it was in the rain? What if we could get medicine into the rain, like
I'm
vitamins,
telling you.
minerals?
Well, I believe in informed consent, and I think these bioweapon terrorists are up to no good, and they don't know what they were doing, even if they did have our interests at heart.
Unintended consequences, right? Go find him on X, guys, at Johnny or at Plant Paradise on
Number
X.
7. Yeah.
Number 7, Ant Plant Paradise.
Yeah.
Number 7. Got it.
All right. Ciao, guys.
Cool, man. Talk to you soon. Yeah. This conversation really connects to a lot of things because we've talked environmental things before, but we never really tackled this specific thing. Nobody is denying it's a thing now. To what extent is it a thing? That I guess is up to interpretation. It's just crazy though, because whatever we see, there's usually more to it or more of it in the background, or other companies, other countries, And what you were saying earlier about China and controlling population, they do a lot to control population, but they also use their population as a I don't know if bargaining chip's the right word, but like they can say, look, we're the big gorilla on the hill, so to speak. Like we have this many people, so that can actually be used as a bargaining. You know, I don't know, bargaining chip is the right, like I said, but you know what I mean. Like you can actually say, well, we're the biggest country, so therefore you should be afraid of us because we could just throw bodies at you all day long, and like because that was always a scare for the war between us and China is like
Yeah.
they may not have the best technology. They might be close enough to us because they steal all our technology.
We have
But
expendable troops.
yes, that is the thing. Maybe they don't. Maybe they want to keep their population at a certain level and not grow it too fast. But they're also they could. Let's face it. They could easily just cut it in half if they really wanted to. But then would they have an uprising? Would they have a revolt? Because right now China has this sort of uh, it's kind of like it's like a facade they have of a free market. They have a facade of a capitalism within their communist bubble. So they have like the bubble of the country, and then inside of it, the citizens are actually allowed a whole lot of freedom within as long as they do what's good for the country. And so like there's this overarching communist dictatorship, but actually what they do is they allow this sort of bubble inside the country of what feels like freedom, although there are obvious rules and points where they're not free. But because of that, they have this, I don't know, facade of being being good leaders or being a government that their citizens. I couldn't think of the word. I was going to say students. You're a teacher. Their citizens, the government citizens, would be like happy that they're being ruled by a dictatorship if they're doing it right. But if China was like, well, we're just going ahead and we're just going to kill about whatever, 500 million of us, they would revolt. They'd get mad. So maybe they're trying to do it over time. I don't know. They could easily do it though. As I'm just saying, like there'd be a lot more ways that they could reduce population, even by accidental, means through COVID or whatever else. I wonder what their real numbers are though. I bet you their population is a little bit skewed after COVID. We saw a lot of stuff happening where they were being barred in their homes and welded in and all this and that. I can't imagine they have the population they used to have. I think I will start a closed community on my property. You still here, Leslie? Oh, he's still here. Okay, you commented in the private chat. You gotta click the little down arrow and go to Rumble. China's a little crazy. Yeah, it is a little crazy. I like Mandarin though. I wouldn't mind learning how to play or learn how to speak Mandarin. Hey Joe, I see you on the Rumble. Let me get you over here. Man, Rumble needs to fix this damn thing. They had the campaign lit up once and then now it won't light back up again. That's a me problem, not a you guys problem. Let's just we got him on the wheel. Now I'm gonna have to refresh my screen, it looks like. I'll be right back. Okay. All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, real quick, before we do the wheel, let me just talk a little bit about 1775 Coffee. It is Rumble's coffee brand. So if you want to help support Rumble because you think the platform is doing the right thing for the freedom of speech, and you can also just buy their coffee. That helps also support the platform. They have a 15% discount going on if you use code STUDIO. You got to go to 1775coffee.com. Use code STUDIO. See, right now they still have the starter kit. You get one right now. They have only 1,000 of them out. You're getting bold. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits harder than CNN fact check. Smooth medium roast and the Vitality Mushroom Coffee for clean energy and laser focus, no crash. all single origin, small batch, toxic free, and mold free. Plus, you're also getting a gold spoon clip, a frother, and a 1775 black tumbler. And this is $170 worth of beer and coffee. You get it for $99. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio to get bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something just like Rumble does. Start your day with coffee that backs what you believe. Let's go. Awesome. Right, I crashed right as it went through. I hope it went through. Did it go through? Okay. 26 cents. Whoopee! 26 cents, everybody. We got it. We got them. We got them. All right, let me throw you on the wheel, Joe. Bud? Okay.
Man, Rio Doso got hit by another flash flood today.
Like since yesterday.
They've been being hit. This is monsoon season for our state. But we've known, like, I don't know.
Yeah, Joe, 26 cents. It varies.
Today was a big worry. And they
Wow.
ended up, they got a big hit. I'm looking at some footage of it right now. Hopefully nobody's dying today. It's bad.
I mean, it's been flooding it just started flooding yesterday, didn't it? Or is this a separate? Did it actually stop and then started again? Or
well, like I said, this is monsoon season for us here. So they got hit on the 8th of July, I think it was, with a big one
right.
that took out this. I don't know. It took out the Rio Doso Downs. It's like they have a big horse racing track that's been there forever and ever and ever. But it took out the track, killed 8 horses. It took out only 3 people that we know of died. But it hit a Fort Bliss family that was camping at one of the campgrounds there. It killed the 2 kids, 2 of their dogs. 1 dog survived. Both the parents were in the hospital near drowning. One of them, I think, is still in the hospital. They were in critical condition. I don't know, but really bad. I mean, it devastated. It was horrible. That flood was really, really bad. Like, there were images of a river like that. This little tiny river that runs through the village that's like ankle deep normally was a 30-foot river running right through the middle of Rodoso. And but anyway, so there's footage of this wall of water coming through and like houses floating down this river, and people are standing. And I know the place where the people were standing. I've been on that deck. It's like this. It's like a restaurant, coffee shop kind of a thing, and it's kind of like a lodge, like a wood lodge. And then you walk out on this deck, and it looks over down onto the little river that flows down there usually. And there's houses fucking floating down that river. It's crazy. Devastating community.
This is the 8th at Rio Doso.
Yeah, well, the 8th, but they've had 2 flash floods that I know of
then,
that I can think of since, and one of them was today. Just got hit. I was going to look it up on their site to see what the cheese may is.
This one from yesterday. These weather anomalies that have taken place in July in the USA. Major flooding in Texas. Was Colorado, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Michigan. Is it normal weather, or is there something sinister behind it? Why did the Department of Defense stop sharing crucial weather satellite data with meteorologists? Oh.
They've made a lot of budget cuts.
It's easy
They've made a lot of budget cuts. Like
they just stopped.
There's a lot of people that do not have jobs anymore. They've cut back on personnel. They've cut back on all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, but that's just like rant. Like, I don't know. Is it 5 people? Is it 5 million? Like, what's? I have no idea. Do we? This is recent though, Kim. This wasn't like affected from the cuts. This is satellite data used. So it was being shared, and then suddenly they took it offline.
Well, it's just like you don't hear anything. You haven't heard anything about COVID lately, have you?
No, because they can't use it to scare us anymore.
No, because the Trump administration has squashed all of that stuff. They've squashed a lot of things about COVID. Let me
We
tell
hear
you
a lot about COVID. We hear a lot about the shots, the truth about the shots coming out. You don't want to talk about that though, so I don't bring it up with you. But there's a lot of information coming out about how dangerous and how bad and what other things that are coming out that people are finding that
there's
they are.
the COVID mutated again, and it's a really bad strain, and it was starting to affect people earlier this year, and now there's not a damn thing out there about it.
So they just want us to die? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know, but they've sure taken away the ability for people who want to get the shots to get the shots. They've restricted access to it and all kinds of stuff.
Because a lot of stuff has come out about the shots that's bad.
There's bullshit. I don't agree with you on that.
It's all false? Okay.
I'm not saying it's all false. All medicine has side effects, and all medicine comes out and it does things to people. It kills them, it maims them, it does whatever. That doesn't make it bad medicine. There's always going to be people. Shit, you can take an aspirin and it'll kill you. My mom was allergic to aspirin. She couldn't take it. It would kill her. Gave her anaphylactic shock. That's just aspirin. It's a medicine. You know, just because it does that doesn't mean that it's bad medicine. It's just bad medicine for certain people that are.
What's funny is it was a $10 tube of ivermectin horse wormer that would cure COVID in a day. Isn't that funny?
Right. They wouldn't tell you about that because of they wouldn't make money on it.
Well, I mean, I do my daily routine. I mean, just squirt a little on my tongue and hope I live a little longer. Getting rid of all these parasites.
Johnson & Johnson leading scientists confess Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine was not safe and effective, reveals lack of research from rushing to release vaccine. This is just from 2 days ago. People wanted it. We gave it to them. Do you have any idea the lack of research was done on those products? I mean, we basically just had a race to figure out who could solve it best. At one point, we just canned it. That's just randomly searching it. Major study involving 1.7 million children have found that the heart damage only appeared in children who had received COVID-19 or COVID mRNA vaccines. This is from July 12th. Not a single unvaccinated child in the group. So, and I didn't search like good or bad. I just searched COVID vaccine. This is the newest stuff coming in. Study. I found.
Who did the study? Where's the information coming from?
Let's see, by Frank Bergman, October 7th, 2024. Let's see, that's when they started the study, I guess.
Well, who's the person behind the study?
It's funny how much information you need from me, Kim, but whenever you're like, well, I just think this, it's because...
Oh, but you've got it picked up right there. Who's doing the study?
I don't know.
I don't read further into it just because they're presented like that. It's like I want to look behind whatever people are saying because people can put stuff out there, dude.
I do too, but you want us to believe what you say just by saying because I say, like without having anything to go off of.
I'm just telling you how I think.
I know, but you got to think the same thing from other people when you're given the information. You got to listen to the way you're saying it sometimes because the way you're saying it is like, I know. I'm trying to dig for information. Help me out. Go find me something because this is one thing I found, and I want to know, more information, not less. You know what I mean? It says, furthermore, the study found that COVID shots offered the children very little protection from the virus, with many becoming infected after just 14 to 15 weeks of receiving the injection. But I'm looking here. I'm trying to find more. 17 million observed study were between the ages of 5. Okay, that's registered with the UK's National Healthcare System, NHS.
Yeah, but who did that study?
Frank Bergman, whoever that is.
Well,
HealthBot. Let's see. Major study. Okay. Let's see if we can find it. No, it's just going to be a bunch of people chit-chatting about it. There's no community notes on it. Dangerous COVID vaccines must be withdrawn from the market. Victims compensated. This is from 12 hours ago.
And blood clot. Global News has now reported that over 10,000 Canadians suffered serious injuries after COVID vaccination, including heart damage, neurological disorders, and blood clots. Yet, while people suffered serious side effects from the vaccine, the media downplayed risk and silenced warnings. 4 years later, the truth is undeniable, but still ignored. Peer-reviewed studies confirm myocarditis rates were 10 times higher than initially claimed, while Pfizer's own release documents reveal they knew about cardiac risk as early as February 2021. Despite this, vaccination campaigns continue. The hypocrisy is staggering. For example, in 1976, the US government altered the swine flu vaccine after just 25 deaths and 450 cases of Guillain-Barré syndrome. Today, with thousands of injuries, politicians, regulators, and the media dismiss, censor, or attack those demanding accountability. The People's Party warned the public. They called us conspiracy terrorists. Now, the data proves they lie and we were right. These dangerous vaccines must be withdrawn from the market. The victims must obtain justice and be compensated.
So I'm looking at a fact check done by Reuters. And it says, talking about this 1.7 million, it says the study did not conclude 1.7 million vaccinated children have been left with severe heart defects. William, I don't know how you say this guy's last name, a senior researcher for the University of Oxford and senior author of research, said in an email to Reuters. In the results section, the study says, of the study, it says among teenagers and children, there were 27 cases of myocarditis or pericarditis per million after the first vaccine dose and 10 cases per million after the second. Hune said, or however you say this guy's name, said 1.7 million was the total number of people included in the research, which was an observational study rather than a randomized trial. So, people take things and they don't know what the hell they're looking at, and they take things and they run with it, and it's like.
Well, I didn't read anything about heart. I didn't. What it read was that it showed it wasn't as safe and effective as what they said that it was, and that's true.
No, I don't know anything about that, but it's.
You don't know anything about that? They said take it. You won't. They said several things. You won't get serious side effects, which people still died afterwards. You won't get serious. You won't get.
Well,
COVID.
yeah, there's a number of people that are always going to die from stuff. Like I said,
but they said that you would.
Die from taking,
they lied.
Antibiotics. People die from taking. The human body is an individual chemistry experiment. So, not everybody's body reacts to things the same way. And so what somebody's body will tolerate, other people's bodies will not. It'll kill you. But I don't remember them saying that. I don't remember them saying definitively that COVID was, I don't know, whatever it was that you said. I can't remember how you put it.
They said it was.
They were hoping that it would reduce the risk Their goal was to eradicate the disease. And when they couldn't do that, the goal became that, that they could, I remember that them saying that they could lessen the effects of it or make it less likely where people were going to die from COVID. Because, if you got COVID, it was horrible. Like, it was killing the hell out of people. And I'm not exactly sure why they were giving it to kids, because honestly, I'm not sure what the reasoning was behind that, because
Can we at least admit there was no reason for young, healthy kids to be taking
I'm not going to say that there wasn't no reason. From my understanding at the time that all of this was going on, and I followed it very closely because I'm a teacher, and that's my population that I work with. And, as a teacher, you're always concerned about your kids' safety and welfare. So anything like that is going to, be foremost in your mind. But, kids were less likely to have to be sick from it. Like, they would get it, but like they didn't have serious complications from it. But also at the same time, we didn't know what the lasting effects of getting COVID were going to be either, for a lot of people. I remember there was one study that I looked at and what the heart of it came from were surgeons that were doing for people that have had surgery. One of the things that they have you do is you have to have a lung x-ray. You have to have a lung x-ray, and you have to have an EEG to make sure that you're healthy enough to have the surgery. And so those are two standard procedures. And so what these surgeon groups were noticing were that people that had COVID, that I think it was 90% of the people that had COVID and knew they had COVID. Oh, I'm trying to remember what they said now. 90% of the people that had COVID and knew that they had COVID had lung damage that was commensurate with a heavy smoker. And then they also looked at people, oh my gosh, I can't remember what the terminology of it was now. They looked at people that had COVID but didn't know they had COVID, I think. I don't think they put it that way. I don't remember what the language was. And 80% of those people had lung damage that was commensurate with a heavy smoker. So, it was such a new disease that nobody really knew. All the whole world knew, because it played out in front of the whole world there for several months, was people were dying in droves.
You think coronavirus is a new disease?
No, coronavirus isn't a new disease, but COVID, this strain that caused all of this pandemic, was a new disease. And nobody knew what the hell. They didn't know what it was going to do. They didn't know what the long-term effects of it were.
It's the 19th version of coronavirus that we've come across.
Oh yeah, coronaviruses have been around for a long time, but they've always existed in animals. They've never.
It's a respiratory disease, and we have never had a successful flu or a vaccine for respiratory illnesses.
Right. Well,
like the flu is not even a full vaccine. It's barely effective, not even half the time.
Well, yeah, that's because the flu vaccine mutates so quickly.
It's just another reason for them to put stuff in us, because there's no, like, our immune system is supposed to be what keeps up with that fluctuation.
But I disagree with that. I disagree with that. And
why? So you take the flu shot every year?
I don't. I have been since COVID.
I can't remember the last time I've taken the flu shot, and I can't remember the last time I've had the flu. That doesn't mean anything. I've also heard people say I've taken 8 vaccines and I'm fine. I get it. Not everybody's going to be affected that way, but I think that them lying about the numbers of deaths and the numbers of people adversely affected, them hiding it. This is why you don't hear about COVID much, because in your circles of news, they're trying to hide those things that are coming out about it, because it's just coming blowing back on the mainstream media for lying to us. We need to wrap it up pretty soon here, but yeah, this is maybe we should have the full conversation, but I'd like to get, I mean, like here they said it was safe and effective.
You're okay. You're not going to get COVID if
you're not going to get COVID if you get the vaccination.
Hey, folks, guess you heard this morning.
Well, I think that's what they were hoping.
When people are vaccinated, they can feel safe that they are not going to get infected.
Dr.
Fauci says he has COVID again.
Oh no! Well,
you've done the right thing. You got vaccinated.
Well, I think that's what they were hoping. I think that they were hoping to eradicate it before it jumped. But the thing is,
they say that we hope you'll be safe. Would you have taken if they said we hope you'll be okay after you take this? No, they wouldn't be able to say that. They lied. Just admit they all lied. Said, yeah, you won't get it if you like. They literally said you won't get it.
I don't choose to think that they deliberately lied. That whatever. I think that they were trying to come up with ways to keep people from dying. Because COVID was a horrible, horrible death. It was a horrible way for people to die. And initially, in China, it wasn't just killing old people. It was killing all kinds of people. It was really bad there, and then once it started mutating, it started calming down a little bit. It became more communicable because especially after it, it mixed with a flu. I think it mixed with the flu or something like that. So it made it even easier for it to be spread, but it also kind of
it just evolved. That's what viruses do. Most viruses, when they first are out there, or when they first mutate in order to get to humans, they are highly deadly, but not nearly as transmissible. And they evolve over time. This is the pattern with many viruses. They evolve over time to where they are less deadly, so that way they can actually spread farther and live longer, and that's what COVID did. That's why you had the Delta and you had the different strains.
Now there's a new strain.
There was a story, Kim, where we had facilities that were working on combining the first strain with the third strain in America. Labs that were combining the two strains. They made a super COVID that was as deadly as the first strain and as transmissible and live long as the second strain or the third strain. Diane, you just commented, so you don't need to comment again. I see you. Congrats, Diane.
What's your point with that?
My point is, we're creating more strains, and do we think that's the only place doing it? Just because I saw the one story, it's got to be other countries. They're literally they're scrambling to control it now.
What's the problem with that?
That's how we got into this mess in the first place.
No, the reason we got into the mess in the first place is
weaponizing viruses, gain of function.
The reason we got into this mess in the first place is because China, that facility where the COVID, where it originated,
that we were helping to fund,
did not have permission to they didn't have the facility, and they will never have the facility. They would never have that high level of facility to have that kind of a virus, because exactly what happened.
The NIH was helping to fund the lab in Wuhan. I don't know if it was 100%, but their funding was going to this lab in Wuhan, which is the NIH is run by Dr. Fauci. He lied to the American people, saying that he does not do gain of function research. He used different words and said, all we're doing is we're taking a virus and increasing its capabilities in order to do what we want to do. And they're like, so you mean gain of function? No, not gain of function. We're just increasing its functions. He literally just tried to use word salad to get out of it. My point is, we did this, not just China. There are other people involved with weaponizing these viruses, and I think they're not going to stop. They didn't stop then, and I don't think they're going to stop now. And I don't.
No, and they shouldn't. That stuff needs to be studied.
Studied, yes. Weaponized, though? Weaponized, Kim?
Well, maybe so. I don't know. That stuff doesn't happen just for no reason. I guarantee you that they're studying that shit for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, do you think it might have been the same reason that he studied what happens when he sticks a beagle in a container with killer bees and lets the bees like eat the beagle's flesh off its face? Remember that when when they found that he was experimenting on dogs? Um,
I don't know. People do all kinds of shit. Like,
he's a sick, twisted dude, like
they're
literal,
all
like
sick
mad
and twisted,
scientist.
dude. They're all sick and twisted. That's what scientists
Okay,
do.
but I'm saying
Like,
that
look
doesn't.
at what early people look at. How do you think they know so much about the human body? How do you think Leonardo da Vinci, back in God, whatever year that was making drawings of the human body that, by the way, medical schools still use his drawings because they were just so accurate of the insides of people. Think of the
Yeah,
sickness,
I
because
get that.
that's like out of the mainstream shit. How do you think they figured out how to embalm people? Like, people study that shit, and just because you don't agree with it, I don't agree with it. I think it's disgusting. It's not anything I personally want to be involved in, but there's all kinds of people that do all kinds of shit.
So I'd agree with you that we can find some kind of advancement or some kind of lesson or knowledge from most experiments. But I also think there are some out there that just are doing something to see what the fuck happens.
Yeah.
Well,
Please.
animal research is
Yeah.
something that has gone on, and you have all of these groups. I remember when I was a kid hearing about PETA and, was it Greenpeace or something like that, where they'd go out on these crusades and stuff like that. And, people have used animals for doing all kinds of shit. Look
Yeah.
at how they, who was it? The Russians sent, what did they send out? A dog into outer space? They sent that dog to its death.
Yeah. And honestly, we
A
gotta.
lot of things happen in the name of science. I don't always agree with it, but it's like, I don't know. How else are you going to learn about things?
I mean, it's unusual for us to actually have pets and sweet little lovable creatures. It's always been man having dominion over beast in order to for working beasts. You have oxen, you have dogs to help protect and to help sheep herd and to help pull the sleigh, and you have animals for their purpose. It's only now in our sort of little bubble of safety that we can be like, oh, I have this cutesy little sweet dog that never will have to like do have a job, other than to be cute. So that's kind of unusual for us, to say
Yeah,
the
I mean,
least.
there's a lot of things that have changed. Something, and, I don't know when the beagle got his face eaten off of him, but I don't think that that's something. I don't know. A lot of the laws have changed related to that stuff, and you really aren't allowed to experiment like that on animals anymore. So I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but it's not as common as what it was, and it's very frowned upon. And, like, a lot of women started boycotting cosmetics because they were testing cosmetics on animals and blinding them and, stuff. And I mean, I'm arrogant enough to say, thank God it wasn't, that they weren't just releasing that shit out for humans. But at the same time, those poor animals, it's
Oh,
like
so
it's a trade-off. It's not any nicer for anybody.
I was wrong here. Congressional hearing: Fauci funded experiments which ripped out the vocal cords of the beagle puppies to prevent them from crying when parasitic sand flies were put to infest their faces.
Yeah. Well, when did that happen?
This was last October, so not too long
Fauci
ago.
hasn't been doing any of that kind of. He retired. So when did he do this study? When is he accused of this stuff?
Um,
Because the guy's like 90 something years old.
well, I don't know. I mean, he also other things get brought up from his past, like his AIDS experiment or his work with something, an AIDS foundation or something like that, where he did some untoward experiments. let's see. I have no idea when it first started, but this was in June of last year. So the first one was October, and this was June. Remember when Dr. Fauci experimented on beagles overseas through the NIH? They were just saved 30 of these dogs and brought them back to America to be saved and rehomed. Okay. I'm not sure when, but it's something they're definitely more recently getting into here. Trump's EPA head, Lee Zeppelin, just reinstated a phase out of animal testing begun in the first Trump administration. Yeah, so they stopped the phasing out and then started during the Biden administration, then Trump had to start it back up. I don't know. To your point, though, Kim, I actually think that there is reason for testing on animals because we are, whether we think they're cutesy or not, like we want to prevent more human deaths is the maximum thing, the highest, I guess, order. And if we can find some new sort of medicine by experimenting, there's a lot of it happening though, and I think some of it is really crazy, like growing like an ear on the back of a mouse's back or whatever, like some other crazy stuff like that, growing organs in mice or whatever. There's a lot of weird experiments, but they do learn stuff about it that can help us in the long run.
You relatives.
Say again, yeah, you wouldn't mind letting them test on. Now, I like the idea that Trump implemented his first term, which is the right to try. If you're terminally ill, you should be able to try experimental medications, and I think that's where these doctors should be getting their pools of guinea pigs. And I mean, hopefully with some rate of success, to say the least. But like, here's this new drug I'm trying, and like, let's give it a shot. Like, I mean, I don't know, maybe it could kill you or whatever, but up to you if you're already dying. It's kind of hard to say.
Like the whole ivermectin thing, at first I was skeptical of it because like I didn't know what to believe, because here we had
because the media was telling you horse paste.
No, because anytime people get desperate, and they will turn to stuff. And there were people that were, I don't know about from ivermectin, but what was that other stuff that people were taking?
Remdesivir?
No,
that was the bad.
It was something that you give fish. It's like an antifungal for fish, and people were dying from it. People get desperate, because they're afraid. And, they do things that aren't necessarily, that could kill them. And we already had people that were fucking panicking, buying all the toilet paper and all the shit that they hoarded. So I can only imagine, having people going fucking crazy, taking stuff that was going to kill them, and that becoming like an epidemic kind of a thing, But
last week, my sister was cleared of breast cancer, and she had been taking ivermectin.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. I'm not
hearing
saying,
a lot of those stories.
I am not saying that this stuff doesn't have medicinal value, and I'm not saying that it didn't cure COVID or anything like that. All I know is that I sat back and I watched all this stuff, and I'm very judicious about stuff. It's like I want to see more research on it. I want to see definitive proof.
Did you think it was weird that they stopped us from being able to buy it, and they started like?
No, I didn't think it was weird because
I need more proof. They've been using it for decades in other countries, like in Africa, like they've literally been using it.
Not for COVID.
What is that? That's not the point. The point is that it's safe, whether or not it even helps you with COVID. It was safe for people to eat it. That's the point. That was the point. They wanted you to think it was unsafe when it's been used for decades in other countries.
Malaria.
That alone, Kim, makes me want to say, whoa, why are you keeping this away? And then the only thing that made sense was that Pfizer wanted to make money off of this shot. I mean, like, that's the only thing that
Pfizer
made
wasn't
sense.
even involved at that point.
Whoever, the Pfizer is, I mean, they're
Nobody was
all.
fucking involved in it, dude. Like nobody
Wait,
had
wait, whoa, whoa! There was no,
at the time.
there was nobody involved when they first were blocking ivermectin. Is what you're saying? When they decided to like stop, like take it off of shelves, they made it to where you couldn't get it unless
I
you.
don't think any pharmaceuticals were like involved in. I don't think that. I think that there were a lot of ideas about. So the technology that they use, the mRNA technology, has been around for a while. They've been using it in certain viruses. They've been using it for cancer, certain cancers, probably viruses that cause cancers would be my guess. But so I know that that technology has been around for a while. It had been around for at least 10 years before COVID hit. Um, I don't know that, I think that everybody that is involved in medicine was looking for ways to kill a virus. And, ivermectin, I don't know enough about ivermectin to sit here and have a decent conversation about it, but ivermectin is an antifungal. It doesn't make sense that you're going to use an antifungal to kill a virus. You know what I mean? It's good at killing fungal infections
Anti-parasitic.
or parasites. Well, yeah. So, but a virus is not a parasite.
They
So
have a
it's
lot of
never been
similarities.
studied. It's never been studied for anything. Well, I shouldn't say anything. I don't know what it's been studied for, but I don't think it's ever been studied as something that would kill a virus. We'll just put it that way. So it wasn't something that the medical community is going to get behind because it just doesn't make sense to them that a parasitic medication is going to kill a virus.
Okay,
If
I
that
can
was the case,
understand.
then they would fucking use it on every other virus that they've had.
They
So
are
I think
now.
that well, so I know, and maybe there is something to ivermectin. I don't know. I'm not I don't have a science background like that.
All I'm talking about
But
is the problem with the information flow. Go
I
ahead.
will say my sister got COVID in 2020. She got it towards the end of 2020. They lived in Vegas. They live in Vegas, and her husband was a CEO with Walgreens, and she got COVID. And they gave her ivermectin, and it cured her. She almost died. So I will say that there is probably something to it. I don't know what, but it hadn't been studied for that purpose. And so
Okay,
it wasn't
you're
something
not
that they were
wrong.
really willing to invest in.
But that wasn't the problem, Kim. The problem wasn't that we, hey, no one was telling us about it. The problem was people were out there trying to get the word out about
Oh,
it,
I know. I saw
and
that stuff.
they were being censored, and there were. I saw this panel of 12 doctors one time, and one lady who was actually she was in America, but she was an African doctor. She had very extensive knowledge about ivermectin as far as how much they used it for all sorts of things, viruses and parasites and other things. They've been doing this in those third world countries. They've been using it for other things, and she had this knowledge. She was trying to tell them. I saw this whole video, and that video got canned off of YouTube. Of course, that's why you got to go to Rumble, check it out. But the thing is, that stuff was being put out there and then also being censored. That's the problem with this, Kim. It wasn't that, oh well, I'm not sure if
No,
it's used
it was
if it's
being
useful or
censored.
not.
I'm not
Some doctors are
disagreeing
going to be
with that.
skeptical. Okay, I'll give you those two things. But I saw plenty of times where it was being. Now Diane has a good point. You could still buy it at Tractor Supply, and that is how they could tell you, oh, it was horse. You're buying horse paste. The media was making fun of Joe Rogan, calling it saying he was a horse paste eater, and it was all just a bunch of propaganda in order to get you to not take it. I mean, that was the problem. That was what I would like you to admit is that it's very skeptical for the powers to be that to like take this cheap drug off of the shelf and try to like demonize it when they had all these ads of they had what Johnson and Johnson, Moderna, and Pfizer were the contracted companies, and they all were racing to get a vaccine made, and they had a literal golden ticket. The government said people have to take it. Like who wouldn't you love to have a product, Leslie, that the government gets to tell everyone they have to take, like maybe a seatbelt or something? Like, wouldn't you love to have a
So,
product like every person has to
it's
have?
it's not just ivermectin,
Yeah, there's other things.
benzol. I can't hardly say the word.
I've never heard of
I,
that one.
yeah, I take that one as well, benzol. Plus, I take the cat and dog wormer. So a couple of weeks on this, and then a week off, and then a week on this, and then maybe a week on that. And I started seeing some results of this that I just soon not talk about, but could have very well been life threatening to me.
Mm. Have you heard
Um,
this one too? I heard this one, Leslie. Fenbendazole.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a
that
parasite.
yeah. See here,
I've
uh,
given that, I have some. I gave it to when I brought this new cat into my household. I gave it as a
Oh,
dewormer just to
nice.
make sure.
There you
that's
go.
what this is,
Oh, I see.
and it's pretty good. This is banana flavor.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not bad. Uh,
Waylon, ooh.
just from the research, you can't overdose on it. You can't take too much of it. Your body will process it out. But this is going to supposedly eradicate all parasites clean through your brain. That causes Alzheimer's. Uh, that they're finding it to have so much good behind it.
So many people have a parasite and don't know it. I don't know what the number is, but I know I heard this number. I don't know if it's true. 80% of humans will have a parasite at some point in their life. And sometimes we pass them like naturally, but I can't imagine having like a big old tapeworm or whatever you pulling it out, or like one of those eye worms. Like, I don't know, any kind of parasite just
They're
freaks
in
me
us.
out, man. They are.
Those round worms, those pinworms, those are in us. So when you start taking this, don't be surprised if you don't see them things. Because
And
even as
your poop.
kids playing in the mud holes,
Uh-huh.
all of that, your parents, third world countries, all these other countries deworm themselves, but us in U.S. we just don't do it. You know,
And we ruin our stomach biomes, our gut biomes, and that's what probably would have been able to fight off things like that, our bacteria, and then we just ruin it with all of our diets. Like, I tell you what, guys, I gotta something's got to change for me, because I do not eat that much, but I typically, after when I have a meal through in the during the day, and it maybe it's just my food sources or what, but I just feel so like I feel so bloated, and like I ate way more than I did, and then and not until I fast another 12 to 24 hours until the next day when I go to eat again, because I only eat like once a day. But I feel like, man, what is happening? Like, it's just instant, and it's not like I'm eating nothing but pasta or whatever. Like, I'm trying to eat more meat. I'm trying to eat less bread, less sugar, all these things. But something's got to change. So what I think I'm going to do, I think I'm going to try to have a fast, or maybe I need to start. I need to get myself some ivermectin or whatever, because it's
you
probably
were
a
in
good
a
idea to
third
take it
world
anyway.
country, man. You was over there, no telling what your water supply was, and,
Bottled water, tons of microplastics.
no, right? And, I mean, you might ought to deparasite. I mean, it can't hurt you. It's
Yeah, it
like
can't hurt. Or
deworming your dog.
fasting wouldn't hurt either. I talked about it yesterday. I fantasize about doing a 3-day fast. I just can't seem to get myself to do it.
Why would you? I mean, if you're talking about you don't
It's good for
have an
you.
appetite anyway, that's going to
Yeah,
cause weight loss.
maybe, but I'm okay with that. I could lose a good 20 pounds at least. Easy.
I'd be concerned about not the weight loss, but muscle loss.
Yep. Strength.
Oh yeah, I can't handle any more muscle loss.
I know I can't.
already,
It
I'm already
kind of
at
goes for
my
hair.
I'm at my minimum. Well, guys, I think we need to wrap it up. I'm gonna go and check on my son, probably get him into bed, and I think I want to come and hang out on Locals for a little bit. It's my Friday. It's my Friday. I want to come and unwind on Locals for
I'm
a little
back to
while.
work on Monday.
You
Ugh.
do? Wow. Okay. It's. Oh, I guess you got to do like a bunch of prep and stuff ahead of time, huh?
Yeah, well, we have meetings all day, all week. It's like the first week back, the teachers come back about a week before the kids do, and it's all fucking professional development and meetings, and ugh, I hate it.
You're only so it's only a week away before the kids come back. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I think we're like mid August or maybe sometime late middle to late August. Wow.
Yeah.
And it's always been that way since I can remember. Do you think? Do you
Yeah,
ever think that kids should have a 20 like a all year long?
I don't I don't think year-long school is good. I don't like
I
it.
mean, it would be like less, like say, like maybe one less day a week or something. Like, do you think it would be there would be like a balance to where you could do it all year instead of
I
having
don't
that
think
break?
I don't think it's good. I think it's very,
No,
very disruptive. Because we did have year-round school, or it's called a balanced calendar. But
no problem, Joe.
we had that, and we would have these 2-week breaks um, at grading period, but we'd have 2 weeks off. And the week before, do you remember what it was like when you were in school the week before school let out? Like nothing happened. The kids were crazy as hell and just like ready to get out of there.
Yeah, that's why because you knew it was coming. I think that's why it would be.
And
It
it's
would
very,
work.
very disruptive. So what
Yeah,
you get is this disruption the week before. You're off 2 weeks, and then it takes another week for the kids to come
I'd
in.
probably say 2 weeks before they leave, at least a month before. You're already getting people checking out.
Yeah.
Like,
But it's really super disruptive because
yeah.
the week before and the week after that 2-week break, it was like I hated it.
I think you're being generous with just the 2 weeks there. Like, man, that's I remember like thinking about summer break, several weeks ahead of time. Like, it's coming up, it's coming up. That's all you can think about, and then you end up in summer break, and it goes by like a freaking flip of a switch, and you're like, wow, I didn't get to do
I
anything.
got my chores done.
Yeah, that's about all you did. Yeah, like you kept up with the weeds all summer. Um, yeah, man, that's why I say like it would be cool, maybe like a 3-day school week, but and then maybe you like work in some kind of a 2 days where you work with family or some kind of a work with parents kind of situation more for kids. I think it would be good. But anyway, that's a whole like
Well,
restructuring of society I'm talking about here. So
yeah,
Yeah, we were actually taken out of school for planting and harvesting
yeah,
and stuff like that when I was growing up. And
yeah,
even deer season was a holiday.
yep,
I mean,
it only
yeah.
makes
So
sense.
I don't know. It's really disruptive to do year-round school. It's just not
Well,
good.
hold on. So I thought you were arguing that it's disruptive to have the summer break.
No, hell no. It's disruptive having those 2-week breaks every quarter.
Oh, no. Okay. We're on totally different pages. I thought you were talking about the week before summer break and the week after.
No, I
Yeah,
was
because
just using that as because most people, older people don't have they didn't grow up doing year round. So I was using that as kind of a frame of reference
well,
because
that would
that
be way different. Those are totally different things. The 2 week break, I mean, I could do without. Oh, those are like a spring break, you mean like Christmas break and spring break? Those are
yeah,
the
we
two?
get a fall break, Christmas break, 2 weeks spring break, then Easter, and it's just trust me when I say it's extremely disruptive.
Okay, but that wasn't even part of the original conversation. I'm talking about whether we should take out summer break or not. That's a separate thing than that 2 week break that you're talking about every quarter.
That's what we did.
What?
We did what they call year round school. It's called a balanced calendar. We just ended that. That was this
So
last
you
spring.
tried that.
Yeah, we had it for 3 years. It was horrendous. It was terrible for the kids because the kids get excited the week before. There's no learning that happens the week before the break, and
Well,
there's
forget
no
yeah, okay. Let's cut out the breaks then.
week after the break.
What I'm saying is cut the weeks shorter and just never have that 2 weeks or 2 month break or
It's not
whatever. Like,
the kids need that time off.
well,
It's
they'd
not.
have that time off every week, like 4 days a week.
Yeah, but they need. Trust me when I say it's not good. It's not a good thing.
I don't think that's been tried yet, though. So at least we can at
Yeah,
least
I don't
stop
think
it there.
Yeah, we could send the kids to school on the weekends, give parents a break, and then that way the teachers could take care of them.
There you go.
What?
I think a 3-day school week, 3-day school week, but all year long. No 2-week breaks that you're worried about. I'm not even talking about those 2-week breaks. I didn't even think about that when we were bringing up the conversation. I think it's disruptive thinking about summer break for a month and then getting out for break, and then you're gone for 3 months. You forget everything you learned, and then you come back and suddenly try to get back into the swing of things. I think that's more disruptive.
Well, they have those.
Love that look on Kim's face when I said that.
No, it's like you do have some regression, but it's I don't know. That's one of the things. That's why they went to year-round school, or that's why they've tried year-round school, and it's more disruptive.
So I mean, there's more. I need more information, but I guess we're gonna end it. But I'm like, so what does that mean? Like, were they going 5 days a week for year round? Because that's too much. You can't like that. That would be too much. If they were shortened even 1 day a week, it would have made a huge difference. I think, and that's just my opinion. But that's something that they haven't tried. I guess I wonder how it is in like Japan or China. I know they have like a more of a year-round school year. They must do it differently, or they just have more expectations on their kids. Anyway, let's go. I don't know what we're going to talk about next week. We'll figure it out. Oh, I think next week will be current events. So it's midway through the month, or three weeks into the month. We'll do current events, find out what else is happening in the world. I haven't really heard about a lot of stuff in the last few days. Like, we haven't heard a lot of anything outside of our country because of all the
There's some stuff
floods and
going on with Iran.
yeah, that's what I want to look into. I don't know anything about what's
Iran.
happening over there, so I'll have to check it out. We'll look into it
Well, they
next
were
week.
saying, what did they say? That out of the 3 facilities, only one was destroyed. So they're, I don't know, talking about that.
Only one. Okay, I'll have to look into that.
I'll see you locals in a little while.
Yeah, man, we'll be over there in a minute. I'll probably go live on it and then go upstairs and check on my son. So
I got some doings to do.
All right, cool. Yeah, I can come up and hang out for a bit. All right, thanks again, Kim. Thanks, Leslie. Thanks for Frog Hopper sponsoring. We'll be seeing you guys on Sunday for the Indoor Farmer Game Night all day. Kim, you should try this one. This is a fun one. It's called the Indoor Farmer's Almanac. Did I tell you about it already? It's like Jeopardy. Did I tell you about it? Let me show you the game real quick. I'll tease it for you so I can show the audience. So this is the Indoor Farmer's Almanac. We have 5 categories, and I gotta get these X's out of here. Oh no, that's gonna be annoying. It's okay. So we would put up like 420 for 400, and then I put up the clue, and the player would have to answer in the form of a question, of course. So yeah, I don't know if you're a Jeopardy fan, but you're also going to be busy getting ready for work.
Oh, I got so much. They've been in here all week. They put the flooring down. There's some stuff that they messed up with the flooring. They're going to have them come back out here to fix that. The texture guy came out. Almost every room in the house had to have texture work done. My warranty
Right.
guy came out today and he said that they need to do more to the ceiling in here. So everything's all over the fucking place. But yeah, and I'm trying to dig stuff out of that front room where everything's buried because that's where all my teaching stuff is out. So I'm trying to dig stuff out of there to take to my classroom. So I've been taking stuff in the mornings over to the classroom and then coming back here so that the construction guys can be here to do whatever. And it has to be finished by Monday because once I'm back to work, I'm not home before 4:30 and those guys don't work after 4. So it's stressful.
I understand. I mean, it's almost as stressful as me trying to find the right X here to move it on the screen. But, you know, it's close. It's close.
Alrighty.
All right, let me switch it back here and we will say goodbye. Thanks, everybody. We will see you next week. If not on my other shows, come check it out on Sunday, 10 a.m. Central Time. See you there for game night all day. Thanks, Kim, and everybody hit that like button if you haven't yet. We'll see you over on Locals here real shortly. Remember, everybody's got to eat.
Yeah, this is for my green thumbs in the game. Wailing the indoor farmer, check my name. Sustainability, we about to reclaim. This is how we do it, keep it in the frame. I'm Wailing the farmer, the indoor king. Living off the grid, what the city can't bring. Got my hydro set up, my LED lights.
Still live?
Growing all my greens,
Yeah,
all through the night. Self-sustained, that's the
right
mission.
now.
Growing my own,
Bye.
not missing.
This was
Indoor
off.
farming, the hustle's
Bye.
real.
Good night, Kim.
Wayland's
Good
here,
night.
and he's